Hey man, what happened?
How we sounding? Sounding better than last week?
I don't know if it's me. Say something. Hold on, let me lower this music real quick. Say something again.
How we sounding this week? Any better?
It sound like it's breaking up just a bit. I hear you clear.
Hold on, let me try something else. Give me one sec. 'Cause I've been fucking with the settings over here on this little program. Um,
Go D Wagwan, my girl. What's the word? Yo, the world. I see you out there, man. Turn us up. We going up skis. We are going up skis. We know that y'all missed us, chat. So we had to come back. We know this is what y'all want. So we are here to deliver. Oh, thank you.
how about now?
Oh, wait, I love it. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Oh, big banger out there. I
Nope.
see you out there. Yes, sir. Let me hold on. I'm gonna just play something for them because I'm gonna be honest, like it's off the hip. We shooting off the hip. So we gonna give them this is the stage right here. We behind the stage, y'all. But we giving y'all, remember how the bump used to start with Caleb Braxton behind and she'll walk into the backstage setup? We right here. This is our version.
I wouldn't have bust out the 100 proof off no basic shit.
Oh, got my cup, but we're gonna keep it caffeine for now. I needed to get up skis. We having long days. Dodie, I see you out there. Come on. Yes, sir. AEW 5-year anniversary. Go home show, chat. Where the AEW fans at? AEW fans, this is your time to shine. This is your time, baby.
I promise I won't be nice this time.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, yeah, maybe because I ain't gonna lie. I'm ready to start shooting. I've been kind of good for a few weeks now. I'm ready to start letting off. Too many bitches, that shit enticing, and they riding my dick without a license. I say this. We got reports that AEW had a better upswing in numbers from that was last week's ratings, right? They went up.
Last week's were the worst since January 6th of 2021. But if y'all don't remember what happened on that infamous day, go ahead and Google it.
Was it an upswing from what they've been having, or is it lower than what they've been having?
Well, we'll know tomorrow on how the numbers went, numbers-wise. But this is the go-home show. This weekend marks their 5-year history. Now, some of the AEW fans on Twitter will say, oh, the E. Jones said we'll never make it to year 5, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're here. The ball is in your court. Was good.
Yep. I say this. I did enjoy whatever I seen today in terms of wrestling. Production is not there yet. The continuity, I understand continuity, but there's just certain storylines I'm not for. I don't care for Christian Cage and Swerve. I'm gonna just say it.
I wanted to enjoy. I really did. I had high hopes for it, but to see where it's gone to what it is now, it's night and day.
Yeah, I'm not too high on that one right there.
I mean, again, to start off with how the introduction, yeah, it was a little bit in whatever. Christian just dropped the belt. It is what it is. To have him, to then you abruptly split Swerve from his own faction. I guess he has a pretty solid match with Cage last week. I guess. Is that all what the story is? It's just, it is what it is. It's going to be a great match, a la Tony.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. It's heading down the direction. Unless we see a turn from Nana, do we see a Nana turn on Swerve? I mean, I think that's the only thing that'll make the story compelling.
If that happens, what would be the bigger fumble? Vince with Swerve or Tony Khan with Swerve? Because mind you, This is AEW's first African American world champion. He made this to be a big deal. The crowd, the internet wrestling community, everybody wanted this to be a big deal. What has it been? Exactly. That's all. That quick silence is all I need to know about it.
I'm gonna be honest. This run feels no different than if he would have held maybe a different
Anything
championship.
else?
Yeah. I feel
you could have had absolute gold with this. And
MJF's run was wasted, but yeah, I agree.
They have done everything in their power to make this seem less than. How much better would Swerve? This how the first one would have been? Okay, how much better would the Team AEW versus the Elite Store would have been had you swap out anybody and put Swerve in there? Have the world champion represent Team AEW. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, man. So give us a quick rundown of what your highlights and lowlights of the night were. And I know you want to get into talking about AEW as a whole for the past 5 years and some of their high moments as well. Or what would be their high moments?
Now, granted, no, I did come across some. However, like you and I spoke off the record, the unfortunate part is where the good moments are, how often have they been overshadowed by controversy?
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy.
Let that marinate in the brain as we go along with the show. Just keep that in mind. But as far as the show, from what I saw today, I thought it was, again, it's typical AEW. I'm not sure how else you can word it. Me personally, I did enjoy the return of Edge's bloodbath. And yes, I'm calling him Edge because if we're going to do the Brood, we got to do it right. I don't know what Gangrel's availability is this weekend. Obviously, got stuff going on. If he's interested in it, I don't know who owns the Brood theme song. But again, if this is what you're going to do with it, if we're finally going to get the Brood in AEW, please do it justice. It deserves it.
Now, how I feel like, okay, so obviously there's ways to ignore it. We can ignore it. But the Brood consisted of Gangrel, Edge, and Christian.
Fun fact, it was I believe it was version 2 of the Brood. Because I think the Hardys were there first, technically. Or they met him vice versa, but again. But in theory, yes, the more famous Brood was Gangrel, Edge, and Christian.
I mean, it's a lot of ways that they're dropping the ball. If they're gonna have this inclusion, I feel maybe after Edge and Adam had their feud, they could have probably. I mean, but it's a lot, man. It's a lot of ways that they could have entangled them for this, and they just didn't. And we just probably gonna see Edge and Gangrel reunite, which is still pretty dope.
It'll be entertaining for what it is, but imagine how much more to put the extra effort in it. Had there been no patriarchy, had when Adam Copeland first debuts, you have ENC right there reunited for the first time in decades, and then you have them again. I'm gonna die on this hill. You have them in Sting's last match, the two guys who have been lifelong fans of Sting and his history. Have them do whatever they do with Darby again. If that glass box are there, whatever it is, what it is. That's Darby being Darby, but these small attentions to detail, they know how they can make things exceed expectations, but in their minds, as long as they just cover the bare minimum with the internet fans, I guess that's sufficient for them.
But is it good enough?
It makes Dave Meltzer happy. I guess it's all that we care about.
I could say this: tonight's angle definitely made me a bit more invested into the storyline. I think I remember telling you this a few weeks ago when I was like, "Oh man, they just put an Edge in the barbed wire steel cage match." Like, like what's the now? I feel like okay, the build up is getting. I feel a little bit more invested seeing the Brood. Now we're gonna really get. Cause I feel like we've been seeing this happy go lucky, open challenge edge for
The
the
Cope
most
Open.
part. Yeah, the Cope Open. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much like a standard US title, open US title kind of thing he got going on.
Right. Now we'll run down the card later on going into Double Nothing, but can you see a world where they just instantly get the title off of Adam and put it on Malachi Black? Shenanigans or no shenanigans?
Even with so now he's defending the title on Sunday in the cage match, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That'd be crazy. What if Gang? What
I
if
can see them doing it.
Yeah. What if
I can see them putting the belt on Malachi.
Edge? Or do you feel like there's no need for Gangrel to turn on Edge?
As much as I would love to see him make an appearance, I think that might be asking a bit much. Again, hopefully I'm wrong. Again, it'd be nice to see him, especially those two together again. But again, I think that could be few and far between. And on the other side, again, I can see them easily just putting the belt right on Malachi Black because that's just what AEW does. In their mind, it'll be a shocking title change.
I think that's what they should do. And then you can have Buddy and Brody challenge for the tag belts. Have the House of Black even more dominant. They've been dominant. It's just another way to keep them that way.
But again, how do we tentatively get there, knowing how Tony likes to do his shows? Because again, the way I kind of see it, let's see who holds the belts currently. The Young Bucks,
dude. Yep.
Okay, so they'll be doing their. I can see the BCC having a few matches with them long before House of Black even gets a notice. If anything, they'll probably try to get the trios belts back with them, not the tag belts.
I could see that because if Malachi gets that TNT championship, he's gonna have to. I would imagine that he's gonna hold that title for quite some time before the other two get the tag team belts. I wouldn't imagine it just like bang bang, like okay, we got Malachi with the TNT, and then you just give them the tag team. Think we'll have to build a tournament of some sorts to get there, new contenders or something.
And they're at a point to where do they even need any tournaments? Do they even need
they got enough
matches?
There's too much of those already, yeah.
Because again, what was it? The IWGP Championship belt is not on the line this week, and however, it's an impromptu eliminator match. Why? Now, granted, Evil will probably make an appearance and cost Moxley because I think that's the matchup for Dominion here coming up in a couple weeks.
Could you explain to me? Like, I never understood what's an eliminator match. Like, is this eliminating you from contention?
It's basically if you win, you're the number one contender. That's basically it. But Tony thinks it's clever to call it eliminator matches. That's basically it. Whoever wins whatever, you are the number one contender. What happened to the ranking systems?
Correct.
Now, granted, the IWGP belt doesn't have its own bracket for AEW because it's not an AEW championship. But again, what happened to the ranking system?
Correct. See, the ranking system, I read that they were supposed to come back with it. I guess
it was back for a week.
I'm not comfortable though with the eliminate. Like, just that it didn't like. Okay, you had Swerve Strickland versus Brian Cage in the eliminator match. It felt like I felt like it was an impromptu tournament going on that I didn't know about. Like, is there like where did they get eliminated from?
No, even if there was, we probably would have saw it on Twitter eventually.
Yeah,
because that's where most of the card gets announced, anyways. I mean, you have the pay-per-view is supposed to promote the TV shows, and the TV show matches are booked via Twitter. I don't
all
get
over
it.
the place. What else did you feel like was a big point from tonight's show?
I thought I kind of expected more out of the gun club segment, if I'm gonna be honest. You have three gentlemen in the not even in the prime of their career yet, who could be so much more for that company. They're as talented as can be. They essentially have all the tools. It's just the way they're presented. Now, again, could they possibly be lost without the influence of Juice Robinson? Absolutely. However, I think that for what they've been given, they've done a damn good job at turning chicken shit into chicken salad.
I'm a big fan of I feel like the guns to me, every time I see them in the ring, they just continue to get better. It started with their ring gear. Like their ring gear, it gives me effort of like, okay, they utilizing their history. They're Billy Gunn's sons, associated with DX, with Shawn Michaels.
They've come a long way from being the ass boys, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I feel like they're definitely way more credible now.
They were essentially left to be fed to the wolves, and they somehow earned everything that they've gotten. I gotta tip my hat to them.
Did you feel like it was a surprise to get the return of Death Triangle tonight? Well, it's kind of, you see the writing on the wall with.
I mean, I'm glad they're back. My thing is, and I don't mean this to be rude by any way, shape, or form, but how long is Phoenix going to stay healthy this time? Let's be realistic. How soon before he's back on the list, either by his fault accidentally or by someone wanting to do some dumb shit, that if you, in hindsight, the match probably never needed because Phoenix can be that good.
Hot take: do we even need Death Triangle as a trios, as a faction? Is at this point? I feel like, to me, that was one of those teams when they
did we ever
the trio. Exactly. No, we didn't. We really didn't. Penta and Phoenix, did they ever have what they were, the Lucha Bros or something, or did they
the Lucha Bros? That's what
okay?
that's what they've always been known as.
I feel they
The
deserve
Lucha Bros,
to get pushed.
sometimes they could be called. They've been called the Mexicans at times.
Yeah,
hands down one of the best tag teams in the world, pound for pound. They are that good. But again, it's presentation is everything.
Yeah, again, I think we can agree on they really never needed Death Triangle. It's just something that was put together, bolster up the trios division, put on some banger matches. I just feel
Pac is another one. Again, match him up against anybody. Look at that great match he had with Okada in the last pay-per-view. Everyone knows he's that dude. It's just perception or presentation equals perception.
Yeah, there's a lot. I feel like, especially now, given the amount of time we've seen these guys with the company and how they've been utilized, I feel what are you doing? Are you prepping these guys to be ready for the big spot, or did they already have their big spot? I remember we was joking, this is good as it's gonna get. Like, some people already have their moment, and did we watch it
now again, Pac and Phoenix respectively have been plagued by the injury bugs, but then again, you can say that about a bulk of the roster in general,
and still get huge looks. Like Danny Bryan's always injured, and granted, Bryan Danielson is who he is, but he's always getting a big look, big match, big promoted match.
Yep, but then again, he is the disciplinary committee, so to speak. Is he still giving out fines?
Man, it's funny too. Like you say that, like it's funny to see how the companies like, where I don't know how it's really run backstage, but I would assume like in a newer company, not publicly traded as WWE is, you would expect the boys to be boys and eventually hash things out like grown men. Business is business. The fact that they still have to find crazy things to do is kind of like, I feel like in WWE, everybody knows like there's sponsorships. There's a lot, like there's the same things at hand with AEW, but WWE being publicly traded company, it's just already. Like, all right.
At the end of the day, you don't shit where you sleep.
Don't bite the hand.
I don't know how else to put it.
Shit. Yeah, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't shit where you sleep, where you rush your head at. That's facts. Always feel that these guys, whoever's in charge of, like you said, if Brian is in the committee and if he has anything to do with how he's booked, then.
And also, this is a man where, again, it's Bryan Danielson. This man is retiring from full-time reaction. This man should be celebrated right now, like we did with Sting these last 12 months. Is that what we're getting with Brian? No. We're letting Brian do whatever Brian wants.
How'd you feel about seeing him in the ring with Satnam Singh? I ain't gonna lie, another big man that's terrible. Not by his fault, but just the landscape of how the Giants are treated in this business right now.
To keep it a buck, I thought Satnam Singh stayed in Mexico with Jeff Jarrett and QT Marshall. I thought he just stayed down there and say, you know what? Y'all do that shit. I'm cool over here. I'm actually respected over here.
I'm gonna be honest. First thing when I looked at him come down the ramp, it just felt like somebody that was called up to just have a match. Like it didn't look like he prepped to be on camera.
Just another day going through the motions. He's gonna grab that check from Tony on the way out.
I guess the promo stood true. He's only worried about the rupees, huh?
Guess so. Also, were you aware of the storyline behind that matchup?
Satnam and Brian?
Yes, according to the internet, there's a story behind it. So, essentially, the EVPs have a bounty on Team AEW. That was the purpose of the match. Satnam is going to try to take Brian out to collect the bounty from the EVPs.
See, this is
just like the match.
Right, Tony Khan doesn't want to be compared, and then, like, all right, oh man, I don't know where to start. You don't want to be compared, but you want to do things differently, but you still take aspects of professional wrestling that's been done in history. The invasion angle, this, yeah. Go ahead, cook up, brother.
Now again, with that particular story, I don't have a problem with it, believe it or not. However, at least pick a badass. Get Shane Taylor. Get the guy whose gimmick is the fucking bounty hunter. Try to ask Samoa Joe. He got a feather his ass around for losing that belt anyways. Get somebody to where it's believable, where it makes sense. Get someone who's a certified badass put in a match. Not a guy who we see once every 6 months dancing behind Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
No lie, they really went, and that's Omos. They booked an Omos kind of matchup with somebody like you said is on the last tour. We supposed to be seeing bangers, and you guys are doing nothing differently than WWE would do booking wise in terms of how Edge was being booked in his final.
This is a period where Shivani, Excalibur, and Tash should be saying, this could be the last time we get to see Brian in this city, in this venue, because he's retired from full-time action. Something. Celebrate this man. Thank him for his years of service.
I don't hear.
Yeah. Is he not worthy of that like we gave it to Sting? I would say he is.
I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe it's, I don't know about you, but for me, there's a certain feeling that I think he's just riding out this contract. I feel like we're going to see him in the ring again. This isn't the, like you said, like Sting was up there in age, so we can see this is really his last go around. The only thing preventing us from seeing Brian in the ring again is actually himself and health. If he wants to spend time with his family, that'll keep him away from the ring. If he decides to care about his health, that'll keep him away. But he's still relatively young. So just calling it his last hurrah, I don't know. It's like they not selling me with it. This whole last full time, because what you're telling me is okay, it's his last go as a full time, but it's not his last go as a part timer. Yeah, this might be our last go around saying week to week. And even that's not being done justice, like you said. They could put a little bit more emphasis on the city, like Jacksonville. This is the last time you're gonna see.
Who knows if he's gonna be in this venue ever again after this match?
And sometimes I feel like there's a sense. I listen to the commentary in the AEW, and I don't know if like Shivani does a great job. To me, when he's invested, sometimes I hear Excalibur. He sounds like he's joking around.
I can't stand him. Get him the fuck out of there. Put Nigel McGuinness there. Put Caprice Coleman there. Anybody but Excalibur.
And you know what? I think it's only right though, because the company is supposed to be growing, right? If you guys evolved and you moved on from your talent, your in-ring wrestlers, you've even got new producers. It doesn't hurt to put a change at the commentary booth. Not to say you could find another role for him to do. Go back to interviewing people backstage or after a match, what he was doing before.
If the Bucks value him or whatever, let him scout folks at PWG. Let him do a dojo gimmick, finish school, something, anything.
Yeah, his commentary is definitely cringy, and they take away from the action sometimes. Like there's stories that can be told in the ring, and they're just blabbering about nothing sometimes.
I mean, now again, I value wrestling history much than any guy as a fan, but again, we get it. You know the names of all the moves are translated to in Japan. What else do you bring to the table? Taz speaks Japanese. Taz can do that.
No, you're right. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. He calls the moves, gives it the accurate name from Japan, so makes it sound knowledgeable. But in terms of the actual storytelling, there's a lot of story that can be told, and they just from what I see, just be joking around, having a good time. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like Pat McAfee does that over on in WWE, but he also still stays within the parameters.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah, he stays within the parameters. I've seen instances where they go off the rails in AEW, and it's like, all right, are you guys gonna, make me interested into this match, or you just gonna have these guys wrestling and you guys is laughing
and again, I hate to use this as an example because I actually enjoyed the match last week. Why should we care about Toni Storm versus Harley Cameron?
All right, I'm glad that you bring up the females. This is why. When Rhea Ripley has, I don't know if it was all in character or whatever, but if this is a actual feeling that Becky Lynch has had, they fought a long way to come from being divas and stuff like that. And then they put on the type of match today. You've seen the kind of spots that they have. Saraya fell on to, well, I don't even know girl's name in the corner. You know what I'm saying? She fell onto her over in the corner, basically doing the old guy spot where they fall, the head falls onto the crotch and all of that, doing a funny spot.
The old Bronco Buster.
Yep. So my whole point is that I feel WWE gotten a bad rap for a lot of things that they do just for AEW to turn around and do it, and we act like it's okay.
I mean, again,
like it's all right.
I get it. Nowadays, the old Braun panty matches are frowned upon. It seems like AEW wants to bring those back.
There's definitely a lot of touchy, grabby moments in AEW that I noticed. Kissy moments, a lot of stuff.
Now, again, before folks start having panic attacks, yes, some of the girls are doing that in NXT too. Again, let's just call it down the middle again. But again, like it was frowned upon and banished for a reason.
Right.
We did that. They did that to appease the fans. AEW is now again trying to revive that after again like women like Saraya, Mercedes Moné, and others from the infamous Divas Revolution fought so hard to get away from it, and it's like all for what?
And that's my problem with AEW. Again, we're gonna I think I'm gonna continue to drive home this message. No identity. There's no identity. Like one moment it's wrestling, the next moment it's fun and games, which is cool. I'm lost in storylines. What's supposed to be prominent? What am I supposed to take serious? What's comic relief? What's long term? What's short term?
Remember, it's where the best wrestle.
Yeah, I could see that. So that's what I should expect. Enough story to get me to a match. Enough
and
of
again,
a story.
Now again, a story doesn't. Again, we get it. It doesn't have to be a 2, 3, 6 month line angle. I get that. But again, from certain backstage antics to the commentary, the two individuals that are busting us in the ring can only do so much. What is every entity around them doing to make us want to give a damn, to give us a reason why that match should be remembered for? Why this set the stage for this? Why this was the reason why so-and-so had a meteoric rise?
No, I agree. And my major takeaway from that, when MJF won the world championship, I enjoyed his run. He's golden on the mic. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember anything he did except walk around with Adam Cole and win the tag team belts and hold the both belts simultaneously and get overbooked.
Now, with the exception of the oversaturation of it, the times where it was him also, again, before I get into that, aside from a Samoa Joe or on and up injured Kenny Omega, who would have been a worthy opponent at the time?
MJ, that backstage segment, MJF and Swerve were going back and forth, mouth and off. You remember seeing that?
But that was towards the end.
Yep. And that's what disappointed me. I'm like, how you gonna?
But prior to that, again, it's okay. Swerve, Joe, and maybe Kenny. Who else is there? Exactly.
To dance with him, it would have had to been Adam Cole after the whole devil, but then they make him lose the belt.
But also he was battling those concussion symptoms for a year and a half. He had the broken foot, broken ankle, whatever on and off injuries. So again,
the timetable was unsure.
I said it's like, again, it's not saying Tony can't pick into his favorite charts. There's nothing wrong with that. However, at some point in time, now again, we were 5 years deep. At some point, you would assume there'd be a tier, a B tier, C tier, so on and so forth. Again, who can you have in rotation? Again, who's doing good here? Who's doing good here? Who can I try against so and so? Who can I put this? So, not a fucking eliminator match on a goddamn Saturday night at midnight. Or announced on Twitter at 4 a.m. Breaking news: first time ever dream match. So and so and so and so.
Yeah, I would like an insight into how matches are being booked and the process that goes into. All right, yeah, we're gonna announce this right here, like you said, at this random time.
Because it seems like it's always been, or now more apparent, who's on the good side of Tony, who's buddy with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, and I can see that, and also,
and one point I have on that. Now, granted, this man he probably a tender subject, but again, we haven't seen Sammy Guevara in over 2 months. There's speculation that Sasha don't want him there because of what he said years ago. Though He since apologized for those comments. He's rescinded said comments, and us in the internet world were meant to believe or thought to believe that was water under the bridge. That may not be the case. Also, Punk or what's his name? Sammy he could be friends with Punk for all we know. Much like another guy we haven't seen in ages, Ricky Starks.
Right.
That man should have been in the world title conversation for the last couple years.
Yeah, a lot of their promising stars that I felt watching them early on. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with them.
Where the fuck is Miro?
Insane. I mean, I think Keith Lee tweeted something. He was thanking people for keeping him in prayers.
Keith's had some health issues since he had COVID a couple years ago, saying thoughts and prayers with him. Hopefully he's doing well. But again, another guy that even when he was healthy there, they kind of had nothing for him. They had something special with him versus Swerve. They chose to put that on ice, and then they just gave that to us out of the blue a few months later after it was already put on ice. Again, much like other things at AEW, could have been so much more.
Yep.
And again, why even split them up the first time?
I mean, even Adam Page, to me, I used to enjoy whatever he was doing, and now I kind of look at him and he lost whatever steam he had. For me personally, I just like they bring him out, and I'm like, you didn't earn this yet again. You gotta go back in and get right again.
Did we need 3 matches of him versus Swerve?
No. Especially not while Swerve is in the middle of getting his up and comings for Adam Page to come out of nowhere.
And Swerve beats him clean 3 times.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Page's stock has lowered to me.
Imagine what they could have had with Ethan Page, with or without Scorpio Sky.
Right. Ethan Page or Ego, another one that I really thought he was promising when getting signed to the roster. Scorpio Sky, I told you I was high on him before as well. I don't understand how you bring back Christopher Daniels and then he gets fired, like you told me, which is funny. But
and even like prior to that, when was the last time we seen Daniels on AEW Dynamite in a match? Not Collision Rampage, on Dynamite, your A show.
And arguably he should be used in a position like Jericho, where he's putting over young talent, where we seeing a seasoned vet, 20 years ring experience, can still go.
This man might be close. He might be close to 30 years because again, what folks may not remember is him, AJ Styles. They were just cutting their teeth in the dying days of WCW. CD been around the block a long time.
The fallen angel, when he had a little bit of hair left.
I don't remember when he had hair. He was bald as hell when he got to TNA.
Yeah, bald as shit. He had like a little fake ponytail I seen in his early days, like that little receding. I'm like, man,
bless his heart.
Yeah. How you have the receding like in the he had the Hulk Hogan at the early stuff.
I'll say Hogan's still trying.
Right? Like, yeah, man. But nah, definitely I was always a fan of Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, One Wing Angel. The finisher was always
the best moonsault ever.
Yeah, and they were using him with SCU, whatever they were doing with SCU. I enjoyed it, and then they just went away from that.
I mean, Kazarian said, "Deuce, I'm going back to TNA."
Yeah, I could see why. Like a lot of people, the consistent running theme that I see with people that's unhappy, they're not happy with how they're booked in AEW, and it's just, bro. I think wrestlers need to realize timing. Like I was just speaking about this on the other podcast with my man Big J. Everybody's timing is different.
Now, is it that, or is it also a mix of that as well of AEW now isn't necessarily what was sold to them? It isn't what they signed up for.
Both.
Because you have a whole lot of guys who are on the roster. Yes, they do indies or whatever here and there, but they're just getting an extra check for AEW just to they can sell a couple T-shirts.
But I think the big, well, I would assume that the big part of this is, regardless what level you at, you want to have TV time. The goal is to get TV time. You don't just want to be wasting years on the roster collecting money when you can realistically make that same money on the indies. Or
look at George Dillon when he bounced. He damn near tripled his money once he got back on the indies.
Because now the possibilities are endless. You accept your bookings. It's not like AEW or WWE. Now AEW gotta like give you permission for certain things, and with WWE, they not letting you do certain things at all. So it's like when you in that position, well, I'm not getting used. I can make this money elsewhere. It's not about the money at this point. I want to get my name, the repetitions, because that also matters too. Some people get comfortable with the idea of not being used, and then when they're called upon, they don't look the same as when they first debuted.
Or like I said, they do a couple quick loops on the indies. They're told the night before, hey, you gotta be in this city for like a 2-minute squash match on Dynamite. They're burnt out already.
Just for a non-storyline. This is just a one-off. And that's the unfortunate part. Again, too, like to some people that's on the roster, is it fair to them that each week there's almost guaranteed to be a match with somebody that's not under full contract with AEW? Like,
I'll do one better. How many people were forced to get pushed to the side when Tony Wynn scooped up Adam Copeland, Will Ospreay, Mercedes Moné, and Kazuchika Okada?
yeah. Eddie Kingston, I mean, aside from breaking his leg, after all those people that you just mentioned getting signed, it's like his AEW is like he wasn't even there no more.
So, update on Eddie Kingston: it wasn't a broken leg; it is a torn ACL and meniscus. But still, okay, that's a whole year and at least 9-10 months, and they were hurting already without him.
Like, I went back and I watched some of the TNA stuff. What Conan did with LAX, what Eddie Kingston did with 5950. Like, I don't see any of this. Where is this? Like, where's the
where's Ortiz?
This is why Santana left.
Now again, I get it. Folks have a falling out with Santana and Ortiz. It is what it is. But again, what have we seen Ortiz since he had that squash match with Santana?
Why the hell did we have to watch him get his hair cut versus Jericho? Why the hell did they have a hair versus hair match or whatever hair versus? I didn't understand that. Unless he wanted to cut his hair, why you made the man cut his hair?
The fuck happened to Jake Hager?
Man, why Matt Menard and Angelo Parker just faded off into the abyss now? They were supposed to remember their whole shit was when they came and they was part of the inner circle. Oh, this is the tag team that you're supposed to be watching right here. WWE dropped the ball with 2.0. A stupid name, but whatever they were saying, and here we are.
What's Danny Garcia been doing?
And he had, what's crazy? He had steam. People were just messing with that little dance he was doing, everything, and
they were starting to fuck with him heavy. Much like Prince Nana and his little shimmy, whatever, they were starting to rock with Danny.
Could it be a syndrome of, I feel like we've seen this in WWE when people used to get hot over with the crowd. Vince kind of killed that. Do you feel Tony's doing that? Like, oh, I'm not responsible for why these guys are over. I'm pulling the plug on this. Do you think that's kind of like in the realm of possibility at least?
Again, I can't help but think it's more so who's willing to be buddy with the Bucks, who's willing to worship the Bucks or whatever,
The more,
versus
so it's like the
who's
more
trying
you
to get
question
it
shit,
on their own. Yeah,
the more you question shit, he might not
like
display it, but you fucked up.
I'm your EVP. You better listen to me. I got you this goddamn job.
And don't fucking ask no questions.
I made you famous.
But then that's hard to believe when Swerve sat there right next to him and said he didn't want to fight Orange Cassidy for the belt. So there might be more politics at play, but it might be has to do with status quo, where you land at in the wrestling chain and popularity in the wrestling world. Maybe not.
But again, yes, Swerve uttered that after a press conference. But again, back to my point. Look what he's done since he became AEW's inaugural African American World Champion.
You're right. He said what he said, and look how he's being booked.
He has Luchasaurus or Killers, whatever the fuck his name is, rip his dreads off.
I'm not gonna lie to. They need to do something with Kill Switch. Like what I envision with him, he's like a respect.
I think they already shot their low with him. They had a shot with him a while back, and then they just killed it off.
He needs to be like, I think he got the body type of a Kane. Like when Kane used to wear the mask, he give me like Kane vibes.
And Luchasaurus is another guy that WWE let go.
I could say this though. I felt like I seen him on NXT. Two totally different characters. He wasn't Luchasaurus, but the physique is there. They probably, there's probably reasons why they let him go. I don't really see anything spectacular. He's a great athletic big man. I say that.
That's about it.
Yeah. I definitely feel that I would think his character specifically will benefit from ditching the whole dinosaur shit. Like that shit, just let it go. It's over. That, like, just be a menacing big man. Like, you can take the mask off and still be dark and menacing.
There's one person that I would love to see him emulate. Do you remember a gentleman, in my opinion, a TNA legend? Another guy that Vince let walk many years ago. A guy that Jim Ross had pegged as the next big guy. He went by the name of the Blueprint, Matt Morgan. I want to see Luchasaurus, something like that. A big, bad son of a bitch that knows he's the shit, that can stand and bang with anybody, no matter how big you are.
I'm glad you mentioned
he can do it.
We've mentioned Lance Archer. We've mentioned Wardlow. Why
Pops,
are these
Shane Taylor, Samoa Joe?
These are menacing figures. These are dudes that when they come out to the ring, they should be like what Braun Strowman used
shit's
to be.
On.
Yeah, monster among men. Like, I don't understand why they don't have these guys in better stories, better positions. I felt like they gave Wardlow the title at one point, then did nothing with him. Make him a lackey again. It's crazy.
You have him beat MJF clean as a whistle in a borderline squash match right before MJF becomes the world champion.
10 power bombs, yeah.
And you put him on ice for that time, and then you have him reappear as one of the devil's minions.
Insane.
Tony, what the fuck are you thinking?
Like, what correlation aside from fucking with MJF does he have? Like, what incentive does he have to be part of that faction? I don't understand.
Now, again, if MJF retains or whatever, and you don't even have to reveal that Cole's the devil just yet. Just have Wardlow unveil himself as one of the minions. Just because Wardlow beat him clean last in the Wrestle, that's all you needed to have a good match for the next pay-per-view.
Big Bill, I'm gonna be honest, he's in the best phenomenal shape of his life. This might be the best work. You compare this to Big Cass,
and since they took the belts off of him and Starks, like at this point, much like a lot of guys, I want him back in WWE. I want him back with Enzo at this point.
I wouldn't be opposed to this, and actually let him run the show instead of, remember how Enzo would be like running the show with him if they would. Now you could have him calling the shots. Like, yeah, you can say your little shit, but you know what I'm saying? I'm running this shit. He's another menacing one to me. I see Big Bill and I'm like, dog, this dude is fucking. He's huge. He's massive. He another one that's athletic. He can move. It's not like he's just struggling to move out there. You know what I'm saying? He can move. What is he like? 6'10", 7 foot?
7 feet tall, and you can't teach that.
Like, man, that's insane. And I feel like they haven't even given him again. What they do with these big men is they stuff them in a faction, become the bodyguard, the heavy. And that's cool, right? Each faction might need a heavy here and there. But
everybody desperately tries to emulate the Big Diesel to the Heartbreak Kid.
Correct. And none of them hit.
Jericho, you are no Shawn Michaels, my friend.
Even AJ, and respect to AJ Styles. When him and Omos paired up, they had the perfect opportunity to emulate that, and they didn't. Some moments are just captured lightning in a bottle. It's very hard to duplicate, replicate, emulate those things. I want to see if you're gonna have giants in wrestling, I need one giant, just one. Just give me one that's gonna be dominant, one that's like that doesn't look like he can't move, like he doesn't belong in the ring, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like even Andre the Giant looked like he belonged in the ring in terms of ring psychology, using the ring.
Yokozuna, Big Van Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow. Fast forward now, Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, Ivar.
Even Big Show, I feel like picked it up fast.
At one point, he could move.
Yeah, when he was the Giant, he was able to take that jackhammer, like the jackknife.
Or when at his heaviest, Brock gives him that superplex.
Yep. Tough. There's a lot that they dropping the ball with a lot of people, and it's in favor of, in my opinion, it's a popularity contest. Who's hot right now? Flavor of the month. Who's gonna get us the most interactions?
But here's the crazy part about it, though. You can look down at anywhere from 60 to 90% of that roster. At the snap of a finger, they could be lightning in a bottle.
Why is Will Ospreay in a tag team match with Orange Cassidy? And losing in that match. Because Cassidy got pinned. I don't care who got pinned, they lost.
Again, that's one of those, you're better off having a member of the Undisputed Kingdom in a match against Ospreay instead of that tag match.
You don't just go book Roman Reigns in a tag team match with R-Truth. You don't do that.
No, it's one of those. You have a matchup, let's say hypothetically, Roman Reigns versus, let's see, who would have been a faction at the time, against what's his name, Phantasma Santos, and you have him in a tag or in a match against Phantasma and one of the Lothario boys, and you have, let's see, Akira Tozawa in the match.
Right, like doesn't and now I can see the correlation.
Based I love Tozawa. It's just for sake of conversation.
Yeah, comedic relief. You got a comedic relief. I look at Cassidy. Yeah, he held the title, but to me, he's comedic relief in terms of that he's giving the crowd what they want with the spots that he's giving them.
Now, before going further, I'm glad you brought that up. Would it be the end of the world if you write Orange Cassidy off TV for a minute and repackage him as something completely different? Because he can do the lucha style. That's how he got famous, was doing lucha libre. But again,
I'm not opposed to it.
Is it time to put Orange Cassidy to bed and have him introduce something completely different?
I think so. I think what he's known for, to me, is just it's no progression there. Like, how seriously can I take a man that has his hands in his pockets defeating some of the best superstars or the best wrestlers in the world? I just don't see that. That's just black. That's the equivalent to saying I could beat you with my hands tied behind my back.
These are the two moments where they fucked him up and they fucked him over. All right. The first time, giving him that lengthy title reign. The second time, letting him talk. Those are the two moments that did
I
more
feel
harm
like
than good for him.
Orange Cassidy, and honesty, that's somebody you pair up with a menacing big man too. He don't gotta talk. And hell, both of them don't gotta talk.
Do his shit, whatever, walk right out. Big man, hand him a lightweight.
Yup. That's who you give and you could get a lot out of that. They gave him the best friends. You know what I'm saying? And but again, it just makes
because
it feel
they're
like,
actual friends, whatever.
it makes it feel like the New Day.
There's a reason why guys like Cornette jokes and calls them all friends wrestling.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
But again, to further my point, it's amazing like how all these flaws that we're pointing out and identifying are easy fixes.
Like, but correct me if I'm wrong. When Ospreay was first debuting with AEW, he had teammates he would be in there with, right? They were called Aussie Open or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So again, in Japan, which Tony likes to emulate a lot, Ospreay has his own faction called the United Empire. Aussie Open, being Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, were two of his guys, and they kind of like grew closer during the pandemic a couple years ago. Mark Davis is currently recovering from a knee injury. Now again, he should be back soon, hopefully. But again, another quality big bastard. But again, you have Ospreay come in with some of his actual faction mates, and you're gonna dump Ospreay in the Don Callis family. You have Jeff Cobb come sporadically, another member of the United Empire. Make it make sense. Shit is legitimately laid out for you, and you just say, "No, we're gonna hit that left at Albuquerque."
That's where I'm lost at. When I say I'm lost in the story, it's like, okay, you guys could have gave us this, but you're opting to go, like you said, left, and then what? To just might around. You're gonna spin around and give us what we wanted anyway. Maybe.
And I'll even go further down the rabbit hole. Rare for this one. All right. So peep this. Several guys from the United Kingdom have ties with Kazuchika Okada and his former faction of Chaos. You could have had Chaos versus United Empire in AEW, which also probably would have helped New Japan Pro Wrestling. But did anyone help them? Fuck no.
Like, what's the point of getting Roderick Strong over right there in that match? Like, is the beef, is it to further him taking the belt from Cassidy? Is it to further Ospreay challenging for that title? Like, I just don't understand.
Now, again, prior to this week's match, there's actually one match I was looking forward to because, again, Ospreay and Roddy do have history from Ospreay's time during the U.S. independent circuits, whatever. Supposedly there was bad blood back in the days when Roddy kind of disrespected him because Roddy's like, I'm the elder statesman, I'm the senpai, you're the young boy, you my bitch, whatever. And Ospreay protected the heart, whatever. I get that. I'm cool with that. Where I'm not cool with is all the other shit to where you got to incorporate guys who don't mean fuck all to anything about this. Like I said, this is where you incorporate like a Jeff Cobb. This is where you bring in a Kyle Fletcher, and you can have Ospreay, who's getting much better on the microphone here in the States, saying, all right, you got your boys, I got mine.
This is a chance for you to make it make sense. And
Ospreay, bless his heart, he is doing everything in his power to make the best out of bad situations, and he is doing a damn good job. But
oh yeah, the consummate professional right now, putting on bangers. That's what I'm
bless
saying. Like, I don't
bless his
understand.
heart.
You just it's just it's just kind of weird to me. You know, it's again, it's like putting one of the best wrestlers in the world. You just fresh off a singles match, you shoving them in random tag team matches.
This is a man who, let's see, between Wembley last year or basically around this time last year and now, this knocked off Takeshita when he was white hot, beat Ibushi, beat Omega, beat his idol Marufuji in his retirement match, beat Okada, just running to all these big top names, put the pause on Danielson, did this and that. And you're going to just essentially try to cool him off by having him tag with Orange Cassidy to where you now have a loss on his record, assuming the ranking systems still mean the thing.
That's insane. Now we established that it seemed like there's no ranking system. They went away with the ranking system after having it for 1 week. So we got to deal with these eliminated matches whenever they randomly come about.
I mean,
now I guess
I
it's
don't know.
okay. It's a little bit. It's no different than a number one contenders match concept, but it's just that it seems weird when you put eliminator and you involve the actual champion in the match, and it feels like what is the champion getting eliminated out of? That's just me. Like, it's just one of those detailed things that I feel like you could just, if you don't want to say number one contender because WWE has rights, then like I don't know, like it's just
So I typed in AEW rankings, and I'm gonna cite them accordingly. Per eWrestling News, the last official AEW rankings were released April 7th of 2024.
okay. So that was last month.
Now,
April
granted,
7th, where
so
May 7th was
basically,
nothing.
you had Samoa Joe's champion and all that fun stuff, but these were the rankings, and now it just listed top fives. Okay, for Okada's Continental Crown champion, you had Swerve 1, Cassidy 2, Ospreay 3, Danielson 4, Kingston 5. For the AEW Women's World Championship held by Tony Storm, there were no rankings. However, for the TBS Championship held by Julia Hart at the time, you had Thunder Rosa 1, Willow 2, Serena Deeb 3, Mariah May 4, Deonna Purrazzo at 5. The rankings for the vacant tag teams were Bucks, FTR, BCC consisting of Moxley and Claudio, Top Flight, and again, I don't mean to be rude by this, but at the number 5 ranked tag team was the Infantry. Who the fuck is the Infantry?
Yeah, who would?
Carly Bravo and Sean Dean. For the trios, then at the time held by the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, you had the Bullet Club Gold, the BCC, Undisputed Kingdom, the Elite, and House of Black. Those were the rankings for AEW as of April the 7th of 2024. The rankings don't mean a goddamn thing. Never have and probably never will, which is the sad part, because you could have had something special with that. Something fresh, something refreshing. Yet here we are.
Is Sean Dean the captain? Sean Dean? Is that the captain, Sean Dean?
Let's look that up.
Is that my man with the blonde mohawk? Like, cause what's the other guy? What's the other dude that used to be in the Nightmare Factory? Lee Johnson.
Couldn't even tell you. So let's see. It ain't that. All I'm seeing is two brothers. Again, I don't mean to be rude, but I couldn't tell you. All it shows is that they're Ring of Honor guys.
Okay.
Speaking of which, what is Ring of Honor these days? Between them and TNA, they were essentially the number 2 promotion in the United States for the last 20 years. What has Ring of Honor become since Tony Khan bought the library for the sake of buying the library? And that's not a rhetorical question. I'm dead serious.
What happened to Brandon Cutler?
Who gives a fuck?
Brandon Cutler. Oh man.
They should have kept Leva Bates and fired his stupid ass. But no, he's best friends, childhood friends with the Young Bucks. Only reason why he got a goddamn job is because of them.
I'm looking at the roster from AEW in 2019.
Brandon Cutler is, again, between him and the other guy who was paid to be the librarian. I forget his name. These are two guys, for those that may not be aware or may not remember, because, again, it was that bad. Two guys who were like 0-50 something, and these two guys had a segment on being the elite as who's going to get their very first victory first. They're losing squash match after squash match, job match after job match. Again, I'm no trained wrestler myself. I'm willing to bet I could probably outperform Brandon Cutler.
Michael Nakazawa was out there. What's this dude name? I'm looking for the dude you was just talking about. Peter Avalon.
That's the dude.
Fucking Peter Avalon. Dude look like
again,
Andrew Schultz and shit. Like, it's crazy.
I actually was a fan of Peter Avalon, him and Leva Bates, because again, I thought they were fairly decent on the mic. Because of their mic work, there was something there. Again, my opinion.
All right, so as of 2019, I definitely see a lot of people have left this roster. The few that are there are the obvious MJF, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Billy Gunn, Pac, Penta, Kenny.
Oh, what were you in the AEW roster?
Yeah, I'm looking at AEW roster specifically from the year 2019.
Oh no, the official roster is on their website.
But does it have? I'm going by year because do they have? They just gonna have for this year?
On AEW's website, I kid you not, has every person on Tony Khan's payroll from AEW and Ring of Honor.
Even people that left.
It is the current roster.
Okay, current.
I bullshit you not. The names, the amount of names for the men alone is more than the entire rosters for Raw and SmackDown combined. Just the men. Last I counted, it was like 170 something names just for the men. And yes, chat, my stupid ass took it upon myself to actually count how many guys were on that fucking roster.
No, because the reason I went back to 2019, I wanted to see if anybody was still there from 2019 that they used.
The only guys that are gone since then are probably Marco Stunt, Big Swole, and maybe a few other random folks. Leva Bates is gone. Who's it? Blade's gone. I think I don't know. Blade's still there. The dude from Dark Order.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty talented.
Stewart and Stewart, he left right again.
Stewart got let go again. Alan Angels is another one. But again, there's not many guys that have departed that have since then. A lot of the folks there have been there since day one, which again, I commend them for it because again, like many of us, believe it or not, I want AEW to succeed because that's more shit for me to watch. I would love to actually watch Raw on Monday, NXT Tuesday, Dynamite Wednesday, TNA Ring of Honor Thursday, SmackDown Friday, and in between all of that, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
What the hell happened to Brian Pillman's partner, Griff Garrison?
He's Ring of Honor. He's with Maria Kanellis.
Crazy. They need to just let. I feel like
I think he's still there. A couple months ago, last I checked, he was still there with Maria Kanellis, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, why is Maria Kanellis not with her husband? Because Maria Kanellis, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven with Adam Cole, that was the original Kingdom. Made famous by Ring of Honor.
Nick Camarado.
A guy who at one point could have been another strong big man. Could have been. How quick they put his ass on ice. Anthony Ogogo, another one.
I was a fan of Nick Camarado, to be honest. Most of their big guys in AEW, Powerhouse Hobbs. I told you before, Brian Cage, I was a fan of.
You could have had a division of legitimate super heavyweights that everybody would have said, "Oh, who'd you find now?"
The Devon's sons, Terrence Hughes.
They're there too.
They were signed.
I did not even know that. I last I saw was them do some shit in Impact. Oh, speaking of which, I want your hot take on this. Your thoughts on our buddy, our pal, our confidant, Darby Allin training the son of Sting.
I laughed for a few reasons. I thought it was pretty dope. I'll start by saying that it's always dope to see people keeping it, that relationship. But I giggle because I'm like, why isn't Sting training his own son? One, Darby Allin, man.
Again, nothing is. Again, I don't doubt Darby being a trainer, but what do you want someone with a more of a healthier reputation?
I mean, I could be wrong on my take. I would think more seasoned too, like
that too. Is Darby even 25 yet? Is he even 30 yet?
Darby's just finding out about TV, about pay-per-views, and you know what I'm saying? So, and that's under one umbrella. Like, I feel like WWE is always the main umbrella, the main machine. So once you can learn from somebody that's been in that machine, I would think you would want to, train. But I could see why maybe it was Sting's son's decision to train with, or Sting's
a guy he was close with. Yeah, again, I got no problem with it. It's just again, it's like Bully Red's been saying I busted open. It's who would you learn from? Who broke you in?
The learning tree.
Again, in AEW, you have individuals like Taz, who's had a history of having his own dojo back in the day. You could have had a guy like Ethan Page who has his own schools. You have guys on the roster who have their own actual schools.
Bryan Danielson, didn't he go to Shawn Michaels wrestling school?
Yes.
Like, I mean, some of the best back in the day, they used to train at the Heart Dungeon. Dojos.
Shit, if Rikishi's dojo wasn't 7 hours away, I'd take my ass over there any day of the week.
I feel that.
Or again, here's another thing that I would love to know. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but Ring of Honor used to have their own dojo that closed up around the time of the pandemic.
Didn't know that.
It was in somewhere in Delaware called the Ring of Honor Dojo. Is that still open? And so who's running it? Several guys from AEW have come from Creative Pro Wrestling, which is based in, I think, Long Island, where we got MJF, or we got Max Caster and a few other cats. There's places you can go that have proven to be qualified and credentialed establishments.
Yeah, now I said this before. I feel like they have no farming system in terms of, I think everybody that's fresh and green over there is learning on the go.
Well, their farming systems are Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and Game Changer Wrestling.
Okay. So they just pick and pluck.
Two indie promotions that have been around that, well, PWG is where the Bucks were made famous before they went into the Bullet Club, what really made them famous. And GCW is GCW. Yes, they got a little bit of everything. Yes, they're doing mighty fine on their own. But again, would you consider that an actual farming system? And on that topic, they have their big 5-year anniversary pay-per-view this week. Usually these shows, we get some very interesting surprises. Are there any big names that are currently free agents right now?
I mean, free agent. I'm not too sure if we.
You have what, scripts from WWE. This is my point about it. AEW has, over the last few years, has basically made their, I guess you could call us their identity for sake of competition, but their whole point is the big shock and awe debuts. It was Double or Nothing 5 years ago where we saw John Moxley come do a little Shield entrance, put the pause on Kenny Omega after he dethrones Jericho for the AEW World Title. It's also, I think, was it a Revolution or whatever, where we had Adam Cole, Bay, and Bryan Danielson both debut within 5 minutes apart. Winter is coming. We had Sting come out of nowhere. Is it safe to call them a one-trick pony in that regard, to where, yes, they could put on shows where a whole bunch of solid matches or whatever. We don't remember those shows for the matches. We remember them for the shock and awe debuts.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I think this week is going to be no different. Gangrel, I feel, might be one of them. But further
is Gangrel going to want to get on a plane from Florida to go to Vegas Memorial Day weekend when he could be chilling on the beach? When he could be chilling on the beach, banging and banging, like he likes to say.
Yeah, he could do that in Vegas too, though. He could. I mean, like you said, it's all up to willingness. From my understanding, Gangrel was supposed to show up to AEW beforehand, but
from what I heard, Adam Copeland had been lobbying hard for that. Now, again, there's been many stories of service in regard to that topic. Now, it's hard to figure out which one was a legitimate story, but again, me personally, I would love to see the Brood in AEW on the condition that it's the three of them, not just the two. For me personally, it's not the same without Christian Cage.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I don't know how we get there anytime soon.
It felt watered down when WWE did it, and it was just Edge by himself.
Yeah, that's one of those, again, just swallow your pride, bring them on board. Again, like I said, the Brood was memorable for that. Again, for the Brood, that entrance, the walk, the spitting of the blood in the air, the Victorian shirts,
the flames.
It's an attraction, and we remember it as such, and we appreciate it as such. But again, it's like,
that's the first Cody Vader I ever remember.
And here's the thing: at the end of the day, if something happens to resemble WWE, nobody gives a fuck. Let's be honest. Would you care if you heard the Brood theme on AEW? I mean, shit, we hear Metalingus.
Yeah.
We hear.
Yeah, I
Again,
mean,
just because it was done over there, it's not the end of the world. It's just now that it's in your possession, what are you going to do to make it seem like it's your own? Put your own twist on it.
mm-hmm.
Everybody borrows from everybody at some point in time. What
And
separates everybody from the quality of stuff to the it is what it is. It's how do you make it your own?
it should take a life of its own, because I feel like as these guys are playing characters, these guys and girls are playing characters. These characters, it shouldn't just stop in one company. As I said this before, like, all right, so
It's,
if that's what it is,
we
they
got
got to
the hardest team in
rebrand.
AEW for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like I think those days where
I didn't think we'd ever hear that outside of WWE.
yeah, those days of keeping it within one company, that's kind of, unless there's some kind of rights, trademarks that don't allow, just do it. Is what we
Even
know.
even
Is what we
even
love.
then, I'm not sure if you've caught on this, but again with Metalingus, it's a different. It's as Edge stated on Chris Van Vliet's interview, that you think you know me. That's Beth Phoenix. That's not the original person that said you think you know me.
Right. They had to
Like I
switch
said,
it.
this
Yeah.
yeah, and again, like I said, it's the little things that show. Okay, how do we make this something different?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if it's what it was over here? It's yours now.
I mean, damn near when CM Punk went to AEW, he had the same merch style. Like he's
Yeah,
always had that the Chicago Stars since Ring of Honor that's given. But in terms of like that identifiable merch he
the
had in
best in the world.
WWE, yes, yes. They took that over to the AEW, song and all.
Now again, it is in living color, but whatever. And then most of the songs that Punk has had have been actual songs by musicians, but still, it's like you.
But even
That's
CM
part of the
Punk knew
gimmick. You make the
he
gimmick
was
your
playing his
own.
greatest hits in AEW. He's like, "No, like I'm coming here with my shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like he said everywhere, like cults of personalities going with him.
He got Tony to bust out "Misery Contrary," his old Ring of Honor song.
Right. So as easy as it was able to do that, you seen he played his greatest hits. Now I'm the best in the world. I'm doing what got me over. Like this is what got me over with everyone in WWE. And he played his greatest hits in AEW. And yeah, to your point, they can't be worried about looking like the other company. This is professional wrestling. It's
Let's see. I'm
all
trying to
one
look. I'm
fucking
trying.
big world.
Let's see. I stand corrected. There could be at least one name that potentially could be a surprise debut in AEW.
Who's that?
I just as I Mandy Rose. There's been talks that she's got the itch again to compete again.
Mm.
There's also a chance. On that note, we've seen her in Ring of Honor one off already. Could we see someone on the likes of a Ronda Rousey debut with AEW potentially?
Mm.
Because she's already said she ain't going back to WWE.
And she already did that one little appearance with what was it, Ring of Honor
Ring
or
of
Ring of
Honor.
Honor? Yeah.
Now they say it was because they were in LA and she's from the area, whatever. Could it be? Maybe.
Business is still business. Conversations still have to been had.
Tony Khan ain't afraid to shell out the big bucks.
Again, though, this is where I say this is what I'm calling people's bluffing, people shit. Though, what is it that people truly want? Like, do you want the bag, or because WWE could give you the bag too? But the thing is, you're gonna have to
But
work a little harder for it.
in AEW, and again, no disrespect, but I'll use Riho as an example. She's raking in $400K US a year. Doing what?
An ambassador.
Ronda. And again, I don't hear about her on I don't hear about her in Joshi Pro Stardom or like that.
An ambassador of what? An ambassador of what? An ambassador.
Again, now Ronda could say, okay, she's getting $400K US a year to do maybe 5 matches a year, if that. When was the time you seen Rio in a match? This year alone. The year is almost half over.
I mean, you know what makes it even more likely to the relationship between TKO now. You know, UFC and WWE under the TKO umbrella. I feel like maybe Ronda exhausted her options over there. You know, I don't know if she's burning bridges, but she isn't doing herself any favors. She hasn't done any favors to UFC.
From what I've heard from my research, she's definitely burned bridges with Dana White and Triple H. Now, again, with her name value alone, especially with her being in Hollywood, she's not going to be earning for money. That much is confirmed. But if her just to get some little fuck around money, I'm sure Tony Khan would pay a pretty penny to get Ronda Rousey, to say he has Ronda Rousey.
I can see that.
He already had Paige Van Zandt. He already had Dan Lambert from American Top Team. He could have had Jorge Masvidal. He could have had Wonder Boy. He could have had all the other big MMA household names.
Hell, he had. I mean, then you want to talk about that outside of real fighters or the other celebrities he done had on the programming from Shaq.
We ain't seen. I would say we ain't seen Shaq since the Jade Cargill stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone swore to God that when Mercedes Moné was going to go to AEW, they were going to lock up Snoop. They swore to God they was getting Snoop.
But Snoop did make an AEW appearance once.
Again, just once. Just like we only saw Mike Tyson once. You could have kept Ross with Nana and Swerve. Could have. There's a reason.
I thought we had something right there, or even with the Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates was out there. He got physical.
Again,
at least we got some with Action Bronson. I was happy about that.
But here's my point, and this ties into my general question, as far-fetched and as vague as it may sound. Why is nobody coming back? And what is AEW necessarily doing to expand their audience?
I think it's the same old shit. And when I say same old shit, we see who's getting the pushes, who's getting the main spotlight. It's the Young Bucks, it's Kenny Omega, it's Chris Jericho, Adam Page. When healthy,
it's the
you
Young
got
Bucks,
MJF.
It's Orange Cassidy, it's any Joe Schmo that was doing random bullshit in Ring of Honor that happens to be friends with the Young Bucks. Again, until proven otherwise. And again, this was touched on an Ariel Helwani show that kind of started all this current bullshit that AEW is in now. Anyone who considers CM Punk a friend that happens to have some kind of notoriety and steam in AEW is getting the fucking shaft up their ass.
I remember we were speaking about this. The Young Bucks transitioning into sleazy adult film star producers.
Now, again,
it was crazy.
The reason why they did that is because Punk said what he said. Now, granted, again, I'm actually a fan of what they're doing currently because, again, it's kind of what I wanted to do for years. One thing that I wasn't a big fan of was the whole Jungle Boy beating up on Tony, giving him that little punch or whatever. Me personally, I thought, again, I'll stand by this, and folks can dispute me otherwise. My Twitter's is Razor_score or underscore score. But my point is, that would have been a suitor for Joe because Joe could have been like, I demand a rematch. I want this, whoop-de-whoop, all this shit. Tony could have said, well, you could be an eliminator or go to the back of the line. Joe puts the pause on him. Bucks come out, blah, blah, blah. Kind of find out Joe swerves when Joe sides with the Bucks. That's a much better fucking story than Jungle Boy Jack Off Perry.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth because I was just gonna say that. I used to be a fan of Jack Perry. Now he's more like Jack Off because I'm telling you, I don't see him fitting with them right now. Like I don't see in the graphic when they giving us the graphic with them four Anarchy in the arena. I don't see it. I don't see like he just looks like a fucking
granted, Jack. Now again, Jack, you could tell he's been in the gym. He's kind of bulked up a little bit. He gets some size, and I'll give him that. And like I said before, I personally thought he was making a whole lot of ground at reestablishing a new persona within New Japan Pro Wrestling. Had he been in the best Super Juniors this year, Dan probably would have bet money he would have won the whole damn tournament. Because again, I was fucking with him over there, but now he's doing all this shit over here. It's fine. I still don't know why the fuck Okada's with them.
I'm gonna be honest. Like this is my overall feeling. I just feel Tony Khan wants to be responsible for everything. Like you said, you were enjoying the stuff that he's doing in New Japan in terms of Jack Perry. Now,
I was fucking with it heavy, like
right.
Again,
And now
for those that have New Japan World in chat, I highly recommend you watch his stuff with Shota Umino. Like that's again, despite it being in Chicago, despite him basically giving the double bird to CM Punk the whole show, it was a solid match. His few matches he's had in New Japan leading up to the show in Chicago, I thought was incredible. His backstage stuff, I thought was making an incredible grounds. And you put that on pause also because the Young Bucks did an interview with Sports Illustrated today, talk about how, they were his connect to Japan. They showed him the ropes on what to do and some other stuff. And in my opinion, that killed all of his steam.
Again, I feel like
let the man be his own man. Now, again, prior to the Wembley stuff whenever that happened with Punk, I was fucking with AEW because of one line that he said. I got the baddest bitch in the locker room. Ride with that.
Again, I haven't seen her. I haven't really. Was she? Is
she hurt?
Yeah, I don't know. Is she expecting? Like, I don't know. What's good? I haven't seen Anna Jay in a while.
And again, like that could again. I'm gonna spitball real quick. Jack Perry, Anna Jay versus Juice Robinson and Tony Storm. That could have been money for a whole calendar year, damn near. Because Jack's starting to feel himself, and Juice got it on the mic like that. Or even them as a tag team, that would have been perfect because they said, "Hey, I got Tony, he got Anna, we're living good." Tony, it's not hard.
He wants his imprint. He want to be the reason why these guys are you know what I'm saying,
now
in the spot that they're in, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
And unfortunately, Tony Khan's imprint is he let CM Punk walk away. He let Jade Cargill walk away. He didn't do anything about the infamous brawl out. He decided to air the footage of Punk essentially Big Bro and Jack Perry in hopes that would make Jack a babyface or whatever, make him a megastar. I was legitimately worried that I was going to kill all the work that he did in Japan, but again, they got lucky and kind of like went around that, and hopefully they never bring that shit up ever again.
Just to touch on that video, I felt like Tony Khan tried to do some funny shit with it. Like, we all keep surrounding the Jack Perry. I personally sometimes feel it has nothing to do with Jack Perry. I feel like he wanted to call CM Punk out on the, like, I feel like Tony Khan's a very like literal guy. So certain events that CM Punk said on the podcast, it didn't quite happen like that. So I think he wanted to show that.
Yet you show the video and it's damn near word per word everything Punk said.
Yeah, it's just like I said, the literal part. Like to me, when CM Punk said, "Oh, I didn't throw a punch or something at him," you threw something. It
I
was
didn't
a
choke a motherfucker though.
yeah. He because CM Punk kind of fabricated. He said, "I didn't throw a punch or nothing. You threw something. You threw something," and I think that's where
but again,
that
that's
literal
what, and that's what I was like. I mean, okay, he pie faced him,
right.
and again, all jokes aside, now Jack, he's trying to reestablish himself. I'll give him that. But again, if we're gonna be honest, and it was been the fight, would you consider a pie face a punch?
That wasn't even a squabble.
Yeah.
That was just a separation. That was just a
And again, had Samoa Joe not have been there, Tony Khan would have been sitting there while Punk's got him in a guillotine, and Punk saying, "Fire me, motherfucker! I already quit." Which again,
again, we spoke about it. Draymond Green, Jordan Poole. We've seen worse.
and that was more than one occasions covered
And
by
we've seen,
TMZ and everybody.
and we've seen who
And
stood and who went.
In the NFL every year, how many times during training camp alone do we hear of fights between teams in their own locker rooms?
Geno Smith got his jaw broken by his own teammate.
How many times as a kid did we hear Steve Smith fights teammate? Every year, at least 2 or 3 times.
Nobody was safe on the Panthers. Facts. Nobody was safe.
Hey, he just got to let folks know.
Yeah.
Again, there's an age-old saying, brothers fight. It happens, but it's how you react after it and how you bounce back is what determines the situation. In this case,
again, I think we got to
Tony
be
Khan
real.
just let it. Tony Khan just did nothing about it.
We got to be real too. We seen the video with Caleb Plant where he slapped Charlo. Things happen.
Look at back in the day with DC and John Jones. They're fighting on top of the media.
Yeah. And it's like when you
Conor McGregor throwing a chair through a fucking bus.
Yeah, like I get it. It's a message. There's certain things you don't want to send out there, but first off,
shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the media should have never caught wind of it. They should have. Somebody backstage should have did a better job.
There's another example that didn't really get out until folks talked about it. Batista and Booker T back in the day had a little bit of talk. Batista said, "All right, come see me over here." They met up. They duked it out. They squashed it.
Even though, and it didn't get
Booker put the pause on him, but still, he said, "Hey, we're good after that."
Bret Hart, Vince McMahon. Vince still accepted him 20 years later.
Yeah.
Come here. I know what's best for business.
Shawn Michaels said on TV, "Using your feels, I was in my feels. Are we good now?"
But you can still hear me, right? Because I know I flicked this up. You can still hear me? All right. But to do what Tony Khan did, I feared for my life in the 30 years that I've been to wrestling.
That's what you put on TV.
And he said he went to ECW shows as a kid. This is what's crazier. He used to go to ECW shows and those crowds weren't wild.
Just type in New Jack ECW. I'll leave it at that.
Like
type it, look up Tommy Dreamer and Raven Sandman,
Abdullah. Like, come on.
Like, again, you're scared over that because somebody yelled at you.
And mind you, as kids, we usually think that wrestling is real. So imagine going to a bloodbath ECW event as a kid. You're going to be like seeing people wearing the crimson mask getting put through flaming tables, falling 40 feet. Crazy.
What was it? That mass transit incident where New Jack, I guess, stabbed doing that scaffold match that was underage.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Crazy.
Shit. Jeff Hardy was in the WWE at the age of 16. He lied about his age and got his ass about Scott Hall. Excuse me, Razor Ramon.
Yep. And that's just the
Shit,
Nate. It don't
shit's
make
gonna
things right,
happen.
but yeah, it's gonna happen.
Tempers
That's
are
what.
gonna,
Yeah.
it's just like any other sport. Shit's gonna happen. It's just you gotta divide the business from the personal. If stuff is actually shaping to be a personal beef, instead of down saying, "Hey, I'm paying you guys to do this and this. If you guys can't get along, all right, what can we do to make some money out of this at least?" Vince
That's
was a mastermind
Tony's
at that.
problem. That's Tony's problem. He, to me, in my opinion, he doesn't stand on business. Like Vince
He's
wasn't
afraid of
scared. Yeah,
confrontation.
yeah. Vince wasn't scared to suspend the top superstar for anything.
Vince, Vern Gagne, Jim Hurd, anybody. Those tell folks flat out, hey, either I fire you now or you guys can have a match. We can make you guys a fuckload of money. And then after you guys fight it out, it's done. Ain't no more beef.
Yeah. Even Austin walked off, dropped it, like, you know what I'm saying, went home and Vince called him back. Like
Brock Goldberg, WrestleMania 20.
Then they give us some more series of those matches in the future. Crazy.
Again, you can't make everybody happy. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just, how can you maximize everyone's time while they're there? You don't need 200-300 folks on the roster. If anything, between the three shows, you need maybe 100 folks max between all three shows, and you can make everybody a star.
I just feel like AEW started doing shit too soon. I don't remember TNA's wholehearted history of what they were doing when they first started, but like
now with TNA, I want to say again, they've always a lot of the old WWE folks kind of went over there. Raven went over there. Ken Shamrock went over there. Macho Man went over there. But it wasn't until like 07, 08 where again Booker T went there, Scott Steiner went there, Jeff Hardy went there, Christian Cage went over there, Angle over there, and
Sting was the reason I watched TNA, to be honest.
But the thing with them is like, yes, they were like Christian and everyone else, they're at the top of their game, but they also understood that you had Samoa Joe, you had AJ Styles, you had Bobby Roode, James Storm, Petey Williams. They
even had a Legends Championship in TNA, right? So I feel like they at least made sense of like,
it wasn't until essentially Hogan got there is when they try to challenge Vince. But aside from that, they're like, again, yeah, we'll take you guys here. But a lot of the OGs coming in, they're like, okay, there's a whole lot of youth here, a whole lot of special talent here. Let's show them how it was done. They'll learn from us. We get magic.
TNA made some fire.
Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, magic. Bully Ray, Jeff Hardy showed everybody how a proper swerve is done when Bully Ray joined Aces and Eights or announced as he was the president.
That was the best. I remember that lead up.
Scott Steiner and Petey Williams was absolute money. Fuck. Even the early days, Paparazzi Productions, Kevin Nash showing Alex Shelley how to come out of his shell. Rhino, AJ Styles. The list goes on and on. For fuck's sake, Raven and CM Punk. That was a thing that folks often forget about.
But you see, TNA, I felt like they cared
Jeff
about
Hardy,
story.
AJ Styles. I can go on and on.
I feel like they cared about story over there, and they weren't afraid to get. Yeah,
they were about, again, like X Division was supposed to be the next generation. They were all about showing, all right, yes, we have so and so here, but look what you guys are going to get to enjoy for the next 5-10 years to come.
They were being innovative. To me, AEW isn't really innovative. They take shit and just remix it. It's like music that we listen to these days. I got a bunch of samples that we love.
It's like a bad bootleg of a chopped and screwed album.
Yeah, they just
once in a while you might get a song that's okay quality that you might slap on occasion, But then that the whole album is garbage.
You're gonna have that 1 or 2 club banger, yeah. But then the rest is filler.
Then a lot of songs are the bass is too much, the treble is a little off, the lyrics aren't really lined up with the beat.
Yeah, no, I get it, because that's how I look at it for real. I'm sitting there looking like AEW is doing the remix as to where I looked at TNA like, at least they weren't in competition with WWE, but they did their best to be innovative. They gave us a different ring, gave us different concept matches, different belts that led like a belt that was essentially a Money in the Bank. This belt led to you challenging for another belt.
Again, I've been watching TNA Impact proudly for the last 20 years. Aside from the brief time Hogan was there, not once have they deemed themselves competition. They're like, we are TNA Wrestling. We are our own shit. If you want to fuck with us, come fuck with us. We still going to be here. We're going to be showing out. And but when you come here, you will not be disappointed.
And that's why I fucked with their vibe. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like, the masses, whenever you got WWE loyalists that hear there's other wrestling out, they try to monopolize the game and be like, oh, don't watch that. Oh, you watch that, or whatever negative comments they have to say. But when a company like AEW puts themselves in the line of fire and you directly want to compete, expect the criticism. Because
it'd be one thing if they're like around this time here, then they decide to start competing. Again, you've been around for a few years or whatever. All
off
right,
the gate, they wanted to compete. Yeah, off the rip.
And now again, I got nothing against them trying to prove that they're an alternative. Again, that's all fine, rainbows and sunshines. However, it's the general perception of the product.
I don't even understand that. To me, to be honest, like the alternative. What's the alternative to the NFL then? Somebody wait. What's the?
I guess the XFL or UFL, what it is now, maybe. I don't know.
Like, what's the alternative to the NBA?
Rugby, maybe. I don't know.
What's like college basketball? Like, what's the
G League? Is G League even televised in the country?
Like, to me, there's no alternative. There's main stage, and it takes years. New Japan been around for decades. WWE around for decades.
Since the 70s.
Yes, decades. TNA is reaching decades. They've been around for 20 years now.
Wrestling in Mexico is over 100 years old.
Historic, prestigious. You gotta get there. You gotta earn that. Like, you gotta earn that.
Now, again, I don't know how much you follow Bust Up Radio, and again, I'm gonna be quoting Bully a lot. But one thing he touched on yesterday was what separates the reason why AEW will never be in competition is for this one factor alone. WWE, time and time again, whether it's all of Vince's bullshit, whether it's the pandemic or whatever, they have proven that some way, shape, or form, they will find a way to weather the storm. AEW has only proven that they'll just sweep stuff under the rug. Now the ladder is strictly me, but again, they'll sweep it under the rug. They'll say, okay, forget all that noise. We have great matches. We have a 5-star match every fucking show we have.
I mean, it's kind of like working for a company. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I've had the unfortunate experience of going through this where I'm working for a company, and like you said, everything is good. You guys got nothing to worry about. Next month, the business closed. That's what, like, is it like that? Like, you guys might be losing sponsorships.
Again, what was it? So far they've lost the Zone, which basically runs boxing aside from HBO and Showtime. They've lost a Latin American production company. I could be mistaken, but I think they've also lost a UK deal with Triller, formerly Fight TV. I'm not certain about that. And on top of that, Warner Brothers just announced what they got coming up for the next few years. Not a peep out of AEW. Should we be alarmed by that? Possibly, because I think AEW is only on Warner Television until proven otherwise until October of this year. That's right around the corner.
And then again,
October this year, ironically, is the 5-year anniversary of Dynamite, with them being on TV.
What happens to the TNT and TBS championships? if they have to move networks, do these remain prestigious? Do like
I'm more concerned as what happens to the AEW as a brand at that point. Fuck the titles, like
they lose their stock massively. I feel like ever since Cody Rhodes left, you don't see no reality TV shows from them. No, like
and now that part is suspect speculation, but also it's like again, folks that were very key personas in establishing said identity have since gone. You're the guy that had the brand on his back in Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Who knows? He could be back this weekend. He could be back later in time. Who knows? But again though,
it's like, who do we want to see him with at this point? Does he finally get that lick with Strickland immediately off the comeback? Like we said, they had that backstage.
Even then, it's again, like I said, you have again, you have the obvious MJF Joe, MJF Swerve.
I don't want to see MJF and Samoa Joe no more.
But again, that's an example. But aside from that, and maybe Wardlow, do you even want to see MJF versus Adam Cole right now?
No.
Or ever?
No.
So again, say MJF comes back. You have Ospreay, maybe Okada. Nothing else.
See, I don't want him in matches where he gotta be a wrestler. I enjoy his wrestling style is.
But this is AEW. We're gonna be forced to see it, so we might need to at least analyze how we're gonna perceive it when the time comes. That's just Tony Khan being Tony Khan. Is it gonna make sense? Probably not. Fuck, for all we know, we could get fucking Hangman versus MJF again.
I feel like MJF's character doesn't. I don't need to see him prove he's the best wrestler. It's like it's kind of like Ric Flair, right? Like, would you want to see Ric Flair in a high octane match versus like a Ricochet?
No, but with that being said, is it now in MJF's best interest to write out his contract and just let it expire?
Yeah.
So when he does ultimately jump ship, which is very plausible, I'm not saying it's certain because again, Tony could pay him and he could decide, you know what, I'm gonna just take his money and fuck it, whatever. We don't know. It's MJF. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. But again, I feel like more and more people are starting to believe that it is in his best interest to just write out the contract. Because again, it's obvious he's plateaued with AEW. Yes, you can have him, Ospreay, Swerve, whatever, but they can only do so much if they're perceived like dog shit. Much like I said when AEW signed Okada, Mercedes, Ospreay, and Copeland. One name doesn't rectify all the damage overnight. Whether he wants to believe it or not, Tony Khan has become Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He gets guys for the sake of getting guys just so nobody else can have them.
Yeah, a monopoly. That's what I feel like he wants to be, the only wrestling in town.
Only difference in this case is Vince or WWE, they're publicly traded. They're getting money regardless from sponsors, whatever. All of this essentially is all out of Tony Khan's pocket and what money he gets from Warner Brothers Discovery
and whatever. Yeah,
assuming he's even making a profit.
Yeah, whatever individual deals he can broker.
Because for all we know, all this could entirely be funded and sourced by Tony Khan and his father's money. For all we know, that whatever money or whatever is could be just Shad Khan breaking even. We don't know.
Imagine. Well,
and you gotta that's the sad reality of it.
Yeah, you gotta expect that in the first few years of business, but it's like there's no trajectory in sense of it. It doesn't seem like they're going up anytime soon. So
now, did the pandemic halt their progress? Yes. However, if you take the pandemic out of the equation and whatever we saw was the plan regardless, was it even worth it? Or was AEW better off being a monthly or quarterly pay-per-view gig, much like how TNA was the first year they were in business? Because what folks may not realize is that TNA, they just did pay-per-views long before they got on TV.
I'm not sure what's the right answer on that one, but I felt like when there was only 4 pay-per-views for AEW, they meant more. Especially the builds to the pay-per-views, especially the main event matches, everything felt special. Now that I feel like some of the pay-per-views, since they're still new, they just still adding. So like some of these pay-per-views are the first time, it's the inaugural pay-per-view. It's the first time we're seeing this. So it's kind of, it feels like, okay, what's the theme behind this pay-per-view? What's the point?
And again, like now Tony Khan, we all know he can build one hell of a pay-per-view card. I'm not taking that against him. My questions are, once you get the card lined up, how do we get there? Where do we go from here?
I could see that because that's my biggest question right there. Every time they build it up,
because again, much like WWE, the TV builds to the PLE. AEW's case, the pay-per-views are supposed to build towards TV. It's supposed to be the other way around, Tony.
And because, my biggest question is after we're done with some of these pay-per-views, what happens?
What do we do next? Where do we go?
Yeah. What was like again? Well, you put Bryan and Ospreay in this match, and I feel like the trajectories of what they both doing after, it's weird. It's essentially the best wrestler. The best wrestlers in the world.
But remember, it was a dream match. It was one for the ages.
Yeah. And now you have both of them in the same week in random matches, not gearing towards anything. Unless, like I said, Ospreay versus Roderick is certain to happen, and Ospreay scoops that title up off him, then I can see that.
Which likely will happen, in all honesty.
I could see that.
Because if he doesn't win, if he doesn't take that belt off of Roddy, now again, nothing against Roddy, but again, if Roddy wins that one, then Ospreay essentially doesn't really go anywhere from there, and Ospreay just becomes just another guy.
Then now that'd be unfortunate.
At the same time, much like with Okada, you put not even a secondary, just a third-rate belt on him in hopes that the name will make the title.
And I feel like that's been AEW's story the whole time. I feel they put a lot of titles on people with on the hopes
to make the lineage prestigious.
Right. And yeah, it shouldn't be that way. The belt itself is the reason why we should be going after, because like I said, it takes time. They can't build that prestige in 5 years. That's very hard.
I mean, they could, but at the same time, it's like when you're having an eliminator match 1 week, a death match the next week, which will then lead into another eliminator match. You're just going in circles, making no ground.
Shout out to Moolah in the chat. I see you out there, Moolah.
Cheers to you. Cheers to Big J as well.
Hell yeah, man. Shout out to my brother Big J having me on the podcast earlier. Shout out to Moolah. I see you out there, man. Shout out to Razor in the building with me for another one. And we're going to be on tomorrow, most likely, if the good man permits it. We'll be back tomorrow with another one, y'all. We're going to be here with another one. We got, aside from AEW, Friday, got SmackDown out of Jeddah, Saudi. And then on Monday, just to throw this in there real quick, Gunther defeated Jay through a little curve in my what I wanted to happen. But now it's gonna be interesting to see what does happen.
Is it though?
No, you've been calling Gunther. You've been calling Gunther all the way. But for me, I wanted to see the more Tama kept going further in the tournament. I wanted to see Jay and Tama.
No. What it is, you want to see in Jeddah that.
Yeah, man, he got me with that. I'm telling you, he on
I'm
some
telling you
mad
guys,
shit.
don't sleep on the bad boy Tama Tonga. Like I said it from the moment they signed him, y'all in for a treat. And him versus Randy, like I said it on this show, that match you do not want to miss. That will be one for the ages. If they let them do their thing.
Man, it is gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see because in my mind, the way it plays out, I see interference, but then I also see Randy overcoming interference just this one time. But then it's like Tama hasn't been losing. He hasn't. So do we see his first loss on Friday? You know, it's a lot. It's a lot of again. These are things
But
that
at the same time, on all this, like, do you really want to sacrifice Tama Tonga to Gunter? Just let that sink in for a minute. Do you really want to see that?
That's why Gunther winning changed my whole playbook. Like I'm like, all right, I could really see now Randy versus Gunther. But now, what do you do with the bloodline? No bloodline, or does bloodline come and interfere in Randy's match and cost him against Gunther? Nothing. Nathan,
Like I
but
said,
penetration. Oh, Randy coming back. Well, I see you out there.
This is the time where we get to see if the WWE can have successful PLEs, much like the old NXT's takeovers. But as far as this, can they succeed without the bloodline? Because that's, in my opinion, that's going to play a big role into how long they let Roman Reigns enjoy his vacation.
I can see that. You think we get a bloodline appearance from Roman sooner than later? I know we spoke about this before, but do you think we get it soon? I know I seen Cody. I don't remember which. It might have been busted open, but he's talking about comfortability as champion. To me, Cody doesn't sound too comfortable as.
So on the bus, he covered a lot of topics. Now, some of them, they were very predictable answers, but one thing that I found rather fascinating was he kind of wants like an old school style manager. With the exception of, again, take Heyman out of the equation, and for shits and giggles, take Cornette out of the situation. Who could possibly fill that role, male or female?
Arn, Double A. Now he got to tone down what he was doing in AEW.
No. Fuck that. No. Let him
Bring
bust a piece out one time. Let him bust a piece out one time.
Man, yo, Cody's reaction when he said that. I'm telling you. Nah, I think that dynamic I'm not gonna lie, like that whole night, I'm gonna continue to say it too. A big part of what I enjoyed in Cody, his run in AEW, was the Nightmare Factory. Double A, on Anderson, having his wife by his side, polishing up MJF, the feud with the chairman. You know?
Now, if he didn't have his recent drama, and if he wasn't so tied with AEW, me personally, I would have loved to see Ric Flair as his manager for this reason and this reason alone. Here's your reason.
The Four Horsemen?
You have now picture this. Cody Rhodes, Andrade, Shawn Spears, and you can insert anybody else as the fourth man.
Even on Anderson's son. Why send him have him in NXT for a few months and
But just think like you could that could have been a modern day or you could for shits and giggles throw Randy in there for shits and giggles. That could have been now. That could happen later on in the future, whatever. If Rick and stay out of trouble and all that shit. But again,
though, also for me, Ric Flair, he doesn't have like that same appeal on camera for me anymore. Like when I see him,
but just again, assuming he leaves AEW, whatever, and he stays out of trouble off screen, just picture the visual of say Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, Brandy Rhodes, Cody, Spears, Andrade, Randy, not just titled the Horsemen.
That'd be crazy.
All of them are just all custom suits, whatever, ready to just throw down, beat down. They can all stand and bang. Cody is a heel.
I feel like, I'm also with that. I feel like he should have his Nightmare Factory in WWE. I don't know if it has to do with trademarks, copyrights, and such, but
or again, there's talks that Seth and Jeff, we could be seeing Ricky Starks there soon. Ricky Starks is good friends with Cody Rhodes.
He knows what backstage at Raw looks like.
Hey, he knows what the pay-per-views look like too. He was at the Rumble a couple years ago. He knows that crowd again, especially if you go to a France or a Wales. He does the everyone losing their shit.
Nah, he's a good act too for sure.
And again, he's only gotten better in the ring as well. Because again, I saw his earlier stuff in MLW going into AEW. He's getting better.
I don't know what they got Sean Spears doing in NXT, but I think at some point, maybe a year from now, it doesn't got to be rushed. They should have an interaction with him and Cody to like finally get them, on screen together again. They've been keeping them apart. It's been cool.
Another point is, do you even bother having Cody versus Aldis in WWE, or has Father Time passed Aldis?
I don't think it has. I just think he's not given. I mean, granted, he just got that freak injury working out. Could be wear and tear, could be age. I feel like that's to be determined. I still think he can go. From the last I've seen him holding the 10 pounds of gold in NWA, I thought he can go. I was very surprised to see him just as a general manager on SmackDown.
The reason why I think they'll stay away from him is because I think they did have the round 2 under AEW. Now, again, I'm not. There could be a time where, or Triple H could just say, well, "You want to do this right here, whatever." But at the same time, it's like, who do you throw in as that SmackDown general manager, assuming all this goes back to in-ring competition?
Would you be mad if they bring back Teddy Long just for shits and giggles for a few months until they found a real suitable replacement?
I'll do you one better. and this will kind of tie into some stuff we may get in the future. You put Ava Rain there.
She gets a promotion.
Say hypothetical. Now hypothetical. What comes first, Clash or Money in the Bank? I know we went over it before, but is it Money in the Bank that comes after?
Yeah,
Clash before Money in the Bank.
Clash before Money in the Bank. Yeah, Clash before Money in the Bank.
Okay, so say in the process of that, all this beats up Cody at post match or whatever, blah blah blah. He'll say he's returned in reaction and he put the warden to give someone his role to GM. In comes Ava Rain. Ava Rain says that She puts out a secret hit on Cody to take him out, and that name comes out to be Nick Aldis. Money in the Bank, we get Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes. SummerSlam, we get Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Or you could have SummerSlam be Cody versus Aldis. And then Survivor Series, Cody versus Rock.
I like those ideas because I felt like, again, I always wanted to see where does Nick Aldis, does he just have the Adam? Like I get why they kept Adam Pearce in more of a managerial mode because I think his popularity wasn't, and maybe he was okay hanging the boots up, but again for Nick Aldis, I'm surprised.
All this he can still go. You can go either way with him. He's very universal, much like Randy. You can go either way with him. We know he can still go in the ring, and he has a very intimidating physique compared to Cody. That's a big son of a bitch right there.
Oh yeah, he's hovering above most of the talent. Like it's crazy.
And again, he could talk on the mic. He could look like a star. You still have, again, if you want to do the power couple thing, you still got his missus Mickey James as well. If you still want to throw in a little TNA invasion on top of that, because all this is a homegrown TNA guy. There's a lot of things you can do with all this.
Yeah, I mean, and then even if you're not gonna give us those things, right? I would hope that at some point, since AEW likes to give us dream matches, WWE just gives us the little fun matches just because. Give us manager versus manager. Give us Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis. They've done it in the NWA. If I'm, just give it.
But
Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee. This novelty fun matches.
Now again, with Graves has said he is clear to go back to in-ring competition. With Pat McAfee, on the other hand, given what we've seen recently, I wouldn't mind seeing a little program with him and Braun Breaker. Braun could get annoyed with McAfee doing the put him through a table, whatever. McAfee could come out, talk his shit.
Yeah.
Because McAfee, folks forget it. That's no small man right there. He's every bit of 6'3", 6'4", 250, 260.
I like that pairing right there. Actually. Yeah, I'm not opposed to, like, if they're not gonna give us some storylines that'll be like, okay, this is it. At least give us some, like, I would like to see these guys have a match. Like,
but I think we probably will get something on the lines of Aldis versus Cody, only because, again, Triple H being the savant that he is, he's very much in favor of the history, whether it be the history of a title lineage, one person's history with a certain individual, whatever. Because much like what Vince taught him, that history is what's to make you some money.
Yep. I like the roster that WWE is really starting to put together, because they're really getting a lot of people that we wish that they had for some time to create a lot of these storylines. Now we just got to see if it unfold. We got to wait, like you said, be patient, just let things unfold.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Anything else we missed with AEW before we get out of here? Yeah, we've been out here for 2 hours already. Nothing new though. Now we be grinding it up.
You want to run down that Double or Nothing card real quick?
Yeah, you got the graphic in front of you. I got to queue mods up. Gotta go look in the DM.
Nah, but I got the whole card right here. At least the stuff could change between now and Sunday, but here's as of now, I got about 9 matches on the main card. I don't know if was anything added during Dynamite.
Not that I noticed.
All right, so I'm assuming these 9 matches are the actual card. Let's see, isn't 9 matches? Excuse me, 8 matches. But match number 1, as Tony Khan likes to dub it, a grudge match. Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta. Now, Trent's been turning heel. He medically retired Chuck Taylor. This will probably be little match that's in the dead zone, in all honesty, leading up to the triple main event that we'll get to here in a little bit.
Man.
Or yeah. Next match, the eliminator match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Konosuke Takeshita versus Jon Moxley.
Damn, eliminator match at the pay-per-view. What the hell?
Yeah.
Man. A number
for
one
a belt that you have no say so over in general.
That's insane.
Then a match that you're very much looking forward to, the barbed wire steel cage match for the TT Championship. Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland.
I am looking forward to that match because I'm intrigued to see like what's like how y'all gonna tell the story.
If Gangrel doesn't show up, are you gonna feel some type of way?
No, because I wasn't expecting him until I seen the little brood antics that they pulled today.
With the bloodbath?
Yeah. So but it would be cool if there was an inclusion for sure.
Yeah.
I think I just found this, so I'm gonna cue it up for you, but you can go ahead and run them down. I'm gonna put the graphic on the screen right here.
Yep. And then next up for the AEW International Championship, Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong.
So yep. I guess that is where we lead in with the
Now, me personally, I'm looking forward to this match. It's just they veered off significantly from it.
Now, chat, y'all gotta understand that I'm a bit old school right now. Let me explain myself. I enjoy finding out breaking news because that's part of what we do here in the media and stuff like that. But I do my best to get surprised with anything that I watch related to wrestling because back in the days, that's how it was. I didn't know what was gonna happen the next week. I just had whatever I had to go off of how the show ended. If Undertaker captured Stephanie, we had to see how Stone Cold was gonna get her back on next week's Raw and things like that. There wasn't no Twitter around to give us no hints, no backstage angles. So I kind of didn't know that Roderick Strong was defending the championship against Will Ospreay before I started questioning so much why they were in this tag team match. But it makes a little bit of sense now. Let's see. I got
then we
Ospreay
have for the again, it almost has to be Ospreay in all honesty. Again, if not, then I fear that will damper everything he's worked for thus far. But next up for the AEW Women's World Championship, Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm. Now, prior to this, Toni Storm made her big return talking about how she nearly took her own life because she had her certain demons and she won a couple matches to earn her title shot. And Toni Storm has all but ridiculed her personally. Other than that, this is basically it. Again, I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal match. Serena Deeb is probably the most consistent female they have on the roster. She can work with just about anybody. Toni Storm is equally as talented. It's just, it's one of those things where don't let it be just a typical 10-minute get in, get out, go home match.
Yeah. I think Toni Storm, I'm gonna be honest, she's good. I think she's held on to this championship for too long. I think it's I don't know if Sabrina Deeb is the one to do it, but
I don't see Toni letting go of the belt.
This is one of
the spots where I think we may see either maybe a Mandy Rose or some female that could be a free agent come out, whatever,
to challenge.
Yeah.
Two things I want to get to before we get on to the next match. There is a match on here that I don't see that I think was announced tonight. The FTW Championship, Chris Jericho.
That's right. He's gonna face the winner of Hook and Katsuyori Shibata.
Yep.
Oh no, it's a triple threat because they both pinned Brian Keith today.
Yeah, and
That's
that
right.
triple threat. Yeah. So they added that match. I guess is this too many triple main event? Man, I mean, there's nothing like too much wrestling, I guess, but it can be.
I'll get to that comment in a second, but with Hook versus Shibata versus Jericho, regardless, Shibata is definitely going to take the pinfall. I'm calling it right now. Whether it's Hook or Jericho, Shibata's probably going to eat the pin. That'll just be that could just be subject to the pre-show, much like which I'm sure we'll see Bullet Club Gold once again on the pre-show defending their trios belts against some random fuck off team.
Orange Cassidy versus Trent needs to be on the pre-show. As many times as Orange Cassidy was on the pre-show,
it doesn't even need to be associated with the pay-per-view. Put that shit on Rampage and just call it a day.
I'm not gonna lie too. Trent Beretta's another one that I feel like he never really found his footing in AEW, like or just like I don't know, like
my opinion. Once he left Japan, it was all downhill real quick.
Yeah, like I'm not really sold on Trent.
Which is a shame because he's incredibly talented.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I think Tony Nese is incredibly talented. Maybe not as talented as Trent, but you know, there's dudes that have
Brett is another guy that Vince saw no faith in because he was small. Brett went to Japan as a junior heavyweight, earned his cut, went up to heavyweight, started gaining some steam. Yeah, he had a couple injuries here and there, but everyone saw promise in him. He gets to AEW, and the highlight of his career has him being driven out by his mom in a soccer mom van.
Yeah, that.
Sorry, not sorry.
Again, the friends, the best friends, that it was cool. Like you want to, you know, they hug, they got it's a moment in time. It's definitely cool, but to be taken as a serious competitor going forward, it doesn't really help the character. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't help the talent.
And again, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor were pretty decent mainstays in Japan at the time they were there, especially under Okada with Chaos. I mean, yes, they were. Taylor was slightly on the comedy side, but still, they can still throw it down here and there. They had their moments.
I feel like this pay-per-view, you said it's in Vegas, right?
Yes,
this
sir.
It's gonna run long on Eastern time.
They're at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Last I checked,
I can tell. All
AEW pay-per-views are, as Tony Khan likes to say, 3 hours and 58 minutes. This will be every bit of it.
Yeah, this is there.
I'd be surprised if they go under 3.5 hours.
We're gonna be.
They've only done that once.
Which usually I don't complain, folks. But then you know what that means. That means the wrap up gonna have to come the next night because I'm gonna be exhausted that day. I like to listen to the press conference.
Or we get it right then there, right during the media
fresh
scrum.
Off the fresh right with the media scrum.
Let's think about it. Unless there's a shock surprise, is the media scrum even going to be worthy? Tony's going to say, "We've had a great run of shows. We have access to an excellent library." Blah 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 blah. Sucking cock here and there. Blah blah blah.
I'm calling whoever's on the media scrum. Just came out of a vicious match. They sitting there injured. It's most likely gonna be Darby.
Oh, so actually, let's get into that. So the next match will be Anarchy in the Arena, representing Team AEW, FTR, the American Dragon, and Disciplinary Committee Chairman Bryan Danielson, and the man that feels no pain, Darby Allin, versus the Elite, consisting of the EVPs, the Young Bucks, Jungle Jackoff himself, and the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Ain't no way in hell the team of FTR, Danielson, and Darby's going to win.
I'm not gonna lie. This is giving me DIY war games vibes. Like, just like I feel like I'm gonna get like I don't know. Like, it's just I don't know how I
What do
feel
you
about
bet we
this.
see another exploding super kick again from Matt Jackson?
Man, off the
Have little
shoes,
fireworks on the off
off
the
the
Dior.
shoes, off some thumbtacks. I don't know.
We're
They
definitely gonna see all that shit.
yeah, Anarchy in the Arena.
We unfortunately we're gonna see Darby do some crazy shit that's gonna make us all go, "What the fuck are you thinking?"
Yeah. Again, though, I'm gonna say I don't like this booking. The match might come out fire. I'm thinking health. I'm thinking long term longevity.
Not even
Uh,
that. It's just again, there's other guys you could have fit that would have been better suited for the specific match of EVPs versus Team AEW.
I mean, yeah, if you go on that route in terms of booking, who you got? Who would you replace then?
Immediately, you put your fucking world champion in this match. You
Mm.
put your world champion in there. You put FTR getting because of the Bucks, whatever. But again, you put again. Let's see, probably Ricky Starks and Swerve. You take out Danielson and Darby.
Would you have put Samoa Joe in there?
Honestly, I would have put Samoa Joe in place of Jack Perry or Okada, honestly. Only because of the fact that because again, if you have the world champion on one side, you got the guy who just lost the world title, who essentially was, in theory, of my story earlier, denied the rematch. That way, you keep some type of prestige on the world title.
See, now you know what's my problem with matches like this and pay-per-views. Me personally, I never like seeing a main title, like even like the Elite, right? They got the tag team belts, and Okada
And whatever belt
has,
Okada has.
yeah. So you got 3 champions in this one Anarchy in the Arena match. Now, granted, you guys got these rest of the belts to but like we don't really give a fuck about the international championship. The TNT championship might not mean nothing in a few months if y'all off TNT and TBS. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do there? The IWGP World Heavyweight Eliminator is not even an actual championship match, so you playing face right there with the just the name value of the championship. Um, yeah, you got 2 women's championships on the line, and you got the women's world and the TBS. So yeah, I'm not for the. I wouldn't want Swerve the main. I understand why you would put him in that match, but I don't like even when Roman Reigns had to do like certain triple threat. I mean not triple threat.
Roman was in
Those,
the War Games match when
yeah, like
Sammy
when
turned on KO.
yeah, like when he had to do those matches, I wasn't really a fan of that. I'm gonna be honest. Now the outcome is compelling to watch. Like, okay, what are they gonna do?
But here's why it was compelling, because it lined up with what the ultimate mission was.
Right.
This Anarchy in the Arena is, again, I'm convinced that this specific lineup of guys in this match is only because of Mr. Phillip Brooks. This match, now Anarchy Arena was probably gonna happen regardless, but it probably would have been 8 completely different guys in a random fuck off match.
Hell
But
yeah.
because Punk decided to speak on AEW, that's why the Elite's in this match.
I mean, I'm thinking that right now. I'm looking at Okada and I'm looking at Perry, and I'm thinking, well, what if Okada never signed to AEW? What if he decided to go WWE or just stood in Japan? That's one you don't have there for that.
Again, like I said, if the plan was to have Perry and all along, again, assuming Swerve's on the other side, throw Joe in there, because again, like you could have argued that Joe was denied the rematch for this very pay-per-view. So he wants to get his one up on Swerve to tell Swerve, I'm gonna beat you so bad you got to forfeit the title.
Kind of like how Drew McIntyre, he wanted to join these guys just to beat them. I forgot who he had joined when he
When
did.
he
I
linked up
think it
with
was
Judgment Day.
yeah, with the Judgment Day. Facts. Yep. Yes, sir. So I could see that
Because
situation.
Joe could have been like, the enemy of the enemy is my friend for this time and this time only. You guys are getting me to swerve, so I can put the pause on Swerve. When this match starts, Swerve is mine. Y'all can do your other shit, but this motherfucker is mine. He gotta run my ones real quick.
I got a hot take right here, right? Because I'm gonna
Fire
get into the
away.
next one. Do you feel like we need all of these women's championships across everything? I mean, even WWE.
Well, I'm answering both of them separately. On the topic of AEW solely with the women's title and the TBS title, had there been two entirely different brands? Yes. In this
Correct.
instance, no. On WWE side, I'm okay with one women's belt and one set of tag belts. Because again, you can have, I'm sure, and I'm talking about one set of tag belts between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Like how they originally had it. But
Because again,
NXT
if
got their own
NXT,
tag belts, right? Or
but
did they go away with
possibly, but again, I would have one set of women's belts that would travel between Raw, SmackDown, NXT. That's
Yep.
it, and then one women's title.
That makes
But
a lot
again,
of
let's get it. Let's get into the second of the triple main event. Mercedes Moné making her AEW in-ring debut after a near 2-year hiatus for her breaking her own fucking foot, falling off the ring versus her opponent from that match from Battle in the Valley 2022, Willow Nightingale. What's your thoughts on the setup leading up to this match this weekend?
I mean, I really didn't care for it. I give them the effort. Like they doing their best to make something out of it. It's just it's not grabbing my attention, to be honest. I don't feel anything. I don't feel, they say wrestling is supposed to make you feel. If y'all want me to
Okay,
lie and say I feel things I don't, then I'll be lying. I'm not gonna
so
lie to
okay,
you. I don't
so
feel anything.
here's my quick question for that statement. Would things have changed had they saved Mercedes' AEW debut up until say 2 weeks ago? Would that have made things a little bit different? Made things a little more fresher? Knowing
Um,
what we've seen out of her since then, since her debut at Big Business.
yeah, I can say that. Feel like we've seen too much flirting of her coming to AEW, and it didn't have that same impact of the CM Punk debut in Chicago. To me, it didn't have the same, like, yeah, she got
Okay,
love.
so honestly, that part's kind of not fair because again, Punk was out the game for 7.5, 8 years. That's kind of not fair to her, respectfully. I'll
Mm-hmm.
argue the fact that again, since it had her at Big Business, all they've really displayed is
Okay, I mean, even
the
all right.
set.
So to argue that Edge's debut was better,
Yeah, we can argue that definitely.
and he was just fresh off coming off WWE. Like we just seen him. It's not like, oh my god, he's been gone and we aching for him to come back. That nigga was putting on bangers in WWE before he got out of there.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he left because he wanted to be something more than a mid card guy, and look what he's doing now.
Yeah, and I felt like their introduction to how they had Edge come in at the end of the pay-per-view right there. Like just when you thought it was over, the mats are rolled up. You know what I'm saying? Christian's getting his on this. Oh, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you just hear the Edge song, like he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, because again, when I heard Metalingus on an AEW pay per view, I was hype as shit. I remember spilling my drink. So I'm like, ain't no fucking way they're playing this song.
Right. And maybe again, it's not fair to Mercedes. They can't obtain Sasha Banks' theme song.
But here's my thing with it. Like, all since her debuting at Big Business. Now, this is just my opinion based on me watching her these last few weeks, a couple months. The only thing they've displayed is that she at this point in time, now this could be her be out of the game for a couple years, who knows? But right now, she has shown that she is unable to speak on her own. She needs guidance. She needs a script, for lack of a better term.
I mean,
She
I can
can't.
see that.
She can't. She can't cut from. She can't just shoot from the hip like she thinks she can. Or maybe she
Yeah,
could. She's just rusty. But again, like so far, again, this has been Willow coming out of her shell, elevating herself, while having to carry someone who's a former multi-time WWE Women's Champion. Mercedes is supposed to be carrying Willow, not the other way around in this.
right.
This is supposed to be the boss, Sasha Banks, one of the 4 horsewomen. Everyone thought that she was above Charlotte, above Becky, above Bayley. I'm going to tell you right now, she's probably number 4 on that list based on what we've seen so far.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fan base, and this is just from me looking in. I see, even at the post media scrum, they told Willow Nightingale winning the TBS championship. Do you feel like that's the homegrown championship? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the AEW Women's World Championship, that's the one that everybody else wins, but the homegrown talent has been winning the TBS.
Now, I did like her promo when she touched on the purpose of this championship is to commemorate the history of professional wrestling being on TBS, then becoming Superstation. Because before Ted Turner kind of came more in the fold, TBS has had wrestling on their TV station for almost 60 years.
Right.
Yes, there was a gap in like post WCW and all that, but before then,
It's not like it's something
TBS.
brand spanking new to them.
No. Again, for the historians, that's where you wanted to be. That's where Georgia Champ Wrestling was. That's where old WCW was beforehand. That was the channel that Vince desperately wanted to get. That's what he really he wanted them from that for his global monopoly to start. Again, for a little history lesson, look up Black Saturday, or to fast forward and watch the last episode of Dark Side of the Ring titled Black Saturday. It'll tell you all about that shit. But like TBS as a whole, as a network, was one of the mainstays for professional wrestling on TV for cable. But again, like I mean, honestly, like it's unfortunate. Actually, no. I can see a world where Willow wins. I can also see a world where they just put her on Mercedes. Unfortunately, I think they'll probably put the belt on Mercedes only because they can say they're 1-1.
I mean, yeah, and if you want to give her massive heat, then that's gonna give it to her. I feel like,
But
Mhm.
here's the caveat. I don't think it'll be heat. They'll be like
it'll be more like a
whatever.
bad reaction, no reaction kind of thing. You feel like,
Yeah, which is unfair to both of them. Honestly, again, to essentially do damage control on for this match, it's probably best that this match opens the show.
I mean, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't know for other people, but for me, like seeing all this time pass by and then seeing Naomi come back home to WWE, like I even whatever she's doing, she just lost in the first round of the Queen of Ring tournament, but she just fought against Bayley 2 weeks ago for the she's being put in good spots, good
And
matches.
she's reestablishing herself.
Yes. Mercedes
Now,
Moné, I don't know.
and that's the kicker. We as fans, we're used to seeing Sasha Banks. For those outside of the WWE bubble, we've only seen less than 5 matches of Mercedes Moné, whether it be on New Japan, whether it be on Stardom or whatever. Actually, I don't think she did a match for Stardom yet. But still, less than 5 matches as Mercedes Moné. And those matches weren't the best, which further raises my concerns of everything that we saw was that all Dusty Rhodes and Triple H? How much of this was organically her? Nothing against her ability, because she's still very young in the game. But from what we are accustomed to, was that all
the
Dusty and
reality
Hunter?
is, the reality is this is Sasha Banks, just watered down. I don't see anything different. She didn't go under a character transformation. What, dialed up Sasha Banks just to, what she thinks is a little bit like.
During her brief time before NXT, I'm not certain what her moniker was or whatever. It wasn't Sasha Banks, but again, could this could possibly be her reverting back to old habits that WWE told her to kick, that very well likely could not. I mean, obviously not working, but again, it's obvious she needs help. There's plenty of guys there who could help her get back to where she was and everything. But again, it comes down to her utilizing those connects. It comes down to Tony cracking up saying, "Hey, Mercedes, go talk to JR, go talk to Taz. They'll get you right."
Yeah, unfortunately, like for me, what I'm digesting from Mercedes Moné is like that character's attempting to be Sasha Banks, but more hated, as to where like Sasha Banks, just off the nature of the character, was a natural heel. Like she thought she was better than everybody. She was the boss. But because Monet can't call herself the boss anymore, it's just like instead of the boss ranks, it says Monet.
CEO. CEO.
Yeah, like it's just it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't. You could tell it's just like a remix. It's a remix. As to where Drew McIntyre, when he left WWE, he became Drew Mac.
Well,
Like,
he was Drew Galloway.
well, yeah, like
Which
you
was,
know what I'm saying.
Again, which is his birth name, which is also his name, but also back to Mercedes. Did you know that on her CEO theme that's her rapping over the song?
I'm be honest, I didn't even listen.
Again, you may want to give it a listen, for better or worse.
Man. Yeah, like there's certain people that left and transformed. Cody Rhodes, Drew,
Bobby Lashley.
She's a remix of herself from WWE. Even Jake Hager, as much as we may not love it, he was a whole new person in AEW. Purple hat, just tall motherfucker, badass. Like,
did he go to TNA or no? I don't remember. But even with the reinventions, look at Matt Hardy with the Broken Universe, now back in TNA.
And then look, like, all right, to that point, there's some people that play the greatest hits, but they afforded the luxury of like Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's always going to be Jeff Hardy. Face paint, he can use his name. He goes out there, he's Jeff Hardy.
I revert back to Heath Slater and Rhino in TNA.
They was over there working it. And it's crazy because they did good work in WWE too, and they was over to just carry it over.
If it ain't work, don't or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But also, it's like, I think again with Mercedes, again, I got nothing against her wanting to bend herself to prove otherwise. But also, it's like there are such a thing as omens. Yes, she technically hurt herself in that match under New Japan or whatever, but her matches prior to that weren't the greatest to begin with. I'm sorry, her promos were absolute.
That's another thing that's
shit.
weird.
I don't know if you caught them, whatever. She had this very unauthentic accent for whatever reason in a couple of her promos that sounded like she was trying to be Paris Hilton for a minute.
Yeah, and this is at a height when her and Naomi left. We loved them, right? We cheering for them. Now she reverts to being back a heel, but not the same heel that we knew and loved as Sasha Banks. You're doing something, like you said, maybe going to bad habits, wanting to do things that it's kind of not working.
Yeah. When we see the finished product, it's a bootlegged, not remixed, a bootlegged Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I give you that because at least the remix Sasha Banks had Snoop on the track, right? Like,
And Snoop went back to WWE. So what did that tell you?
yeah,
But before we get our blood pressures up, let's go to the final match in the card. Again, I think the Anarchy in the Ring will be the main event, but the marquee match between Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
I think if you want to piss on Swerve's championship reign even more, you let Christian Cage win.
That might start a riot, to be honest.
Prince Nana turns on Swerve Strickland.
You trying to start a riot in Vegas?
Yeah. At least we'll talk
I
about
mean,
it.
now again, I'm all here for it, to be honest, because again, that'd be some funny shit to watch on TV. But again, if we're gonna keep it 100, it's like it'll be some fun. There's definitely be some shenanigans. It'll probably go about 45, 50 minutes. Swerve will survive Christian Cage and the Patriarch. And yeah, it's good. It's just gonna be man. And we'll probably see the winner of Willow and Mercedes at the scrum. We'll see Swerve at the scrum, and then we'll probably see the EVPs and the Elite crash the scrum, and those will be the three folks. We may see Tony if she retains. I doubt it. Maybe will,
What's
but
the
if
chances? What's the chances though that Christian Cage wins this?
if they do, I'll Venmo you $50. I will hand you $50 if Christian Cage wins that match. Essentially, I will pay for your pay per view.
You know what's? I gotta look at something. I gotta look at everybody who's held the AEW championship, which has only been what 4 or 5 people that have held it.
Let's see: Jericho, Kenny, Hangman, Punk, MJF, Joe. Am I missing anybody?
No, I believe not.
Yeah. Again, if you count Swerve, but that's 7. But again, I don't think I'm missing anybody.
You said Moxley, right?
Yeah.
So we got a mixture of some AEW homegrown talent and obvious fresh off WWE.
Here's the kicker. I can make the argument that there's only been technically one homegrown.
I can see that.
In it.
Yeah.
Omega, that's a New Japan product.
Right.
Swerve, he's a product of the Indies. Joe, product of the Indies. Mox, product of WWE. That's where he really got famous. Let's just be honest. Oh no! I'm missing one. Your boy Hangman, but again, product of Ring of Honor.
I really thought you mentioned him. That's crazy. Forget.
No.
So that's about 8 champions.
Eight champions in 5 years. Which again,
5 years.
Which again, ain't nothing wrong with that, because again, you want the prestige of the title, but at the same time, it's like, given how certain talent has been perceived and presented, you're really giving nobody any leeway to be considered a formidable opponent for the championship.
Do you feel Christian Cage is a top tier legend name? Like this, like
2 years ago, I would have said yes beyond a shadow of a doubt.
When he was on that run where he held the Impact belt, and was it?
No. He was still team champion, whatever. He was still doing the shit, whatever. But again, 2 years ago, when him and MJF were the only heels in AEW, I would have said beyond a shadow of a doubt, yes, Christian would have been a top tier guy. For an Omega.
Point about he was in AEW that he had like 3 belts, right? Or 2. He had the Impact belt, and he had something from AEW.
That might have been just before he signed, I think.
Okay.
Or right as he signed, maybe a month after he signed, whatever. It was very early in his tenure there, but yeah. But fast forward to now,
Because I'm wondering, will Christian
The
Cage
the
beat him?
the whole I'll be so and so's father for you. That's kind of run its course, or it seems like it's running its course.
Will he be the most high-profile name to challenge and lose in recent memory?
Christian?
Yeah. Because I feel like every high-profile name has been winning.
Here's the thing. Well, let's see. Jericho run the earliest. Cody never won it, and he was high profile then.
But we know why I feel like he did that was self-inflicted with him.
Oh, I missed another champion. Punk.
I thought you mentioned Punk.
I didn't say Punk.
Okay, yeah. I in my head I was counting Punk, so yeah.
So 9 champions. But still, so again, I mean, the only guy you argue that was high profile at the time that challenged for it were Punk and Jericho that won it.
I felt like Samoa Joe.
Technically Mox.
I feel like Samoa Joe defeating MJF surprised me.
Joe, I feel like they put it on him only because again Max desperately needed time off.
Okay.
Other than if MJF was actually healthy, Joe wouldn't have won.
Maybe Kenny Omega too when he lost, right? Kenny had challenged MJF.
But here's the thing: Kenny's been battling injuries since he left Japan.
Too,
And like, even when he beat Jericho, he was hurt, and it's like. And I honestly, I wouldn't even consider Kenny higher profile because, again, aside from the New Japan stuff, no one really stateside whatever kind of knew of him unless they followed Ring of Honor or TNA briefly when he was there.
That's why, to me, this like I wouldn't put it past AEW really giving the belt to Christian and letting him go crazy again. Sadly, I think it will be more entertaining.
If Swerve loses to Christian, not only will I hand you, fuck it, I may send your ass a whole bill. Fuck it. But it's like, again, Christian has lost so much steam. Swerve, you kind of need MJF back. Yes, again, you still got the run back with Joe. I mean that whole world title situation, it's in a no-win situation.
Because what I'm thinking is, do you build a new global embassy?
Let's play devil's advocate real quick. Say Christian wins. Who's the next opponent for Christian? That's not Adam Copeland.
Swerve.
Why?
Rematch.
Why?
Because
Joe didn't get a rematch.
Christian, that's true. Christian ain't gonna win clean though.
But again, Joe never got a rematch. And MJF technically hasn't got a rematch yet. MJF makes more sense for MJF makes more sense for Swerve than for Christian.
And you know why this bothers me? No rematch on championships, but rematch on regular feuds. Like you said, that we need to see Adam Page and Swerve 3 times. I wouldn't mind seeing Swerve win the belt for a second time.
I'm almost certain Moxley or Omega didn't get rematches when they lost their belts.
No, I don't.
I don't think anyone's got a rematch for the world title when they lost their belt the first time. Except for maybe Hangman, maybe.
Not even. I don't even think Punk. They just gave him a different show with the belt.
He never fucking lost the belt. You want to be politically correct?
That's what I'm saying. They never even gave. You know how in wrestling they'll do the unification. They didn't even give him that. Like I never lost my belt.
Punk was never even. I don't even think he was stripped of the belt.
Nah, he was able to walk out with the. He even defended that belt that he remember, the one with the X on it.
Oh no! Didn't he? No, that's when I think MJF beat him on that one. So he might have defended that one. Maybe. But
MJF again, beat him for the belt though, for the strap.
Don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it.
He had beat him in a regular match. It was not. Well, it was it the dog collar or the regular match?
That was long before it. That was long before.
Way long before.
So no, I don't think anybody that's lost the belt has gotten a rematch. Except for maybe Hangman, maybe.
And even so, I think when he did, I think it was more like a fatal 4-way or something. Wasn't it like
Probably.
it was a match with Adam Page,
And
Darby
this is my
Allin,
and
Guevara.
this is kind of one of my issues with AEW as a whole. It's like there, aside from the actual singles matches, if it's a multi-man match that's supposed to be considered a big deal, can you remember all the participants? So, for example, can you recall everybody else that was in the match where Dante Martin broke his leg taking that Canadian Destroyer off for Pentagon through the table off the ladder out of the ring at Ring of Honor Final Battle? I can tell you this Final Battle, that's about it. I didn't remember who won that match.
They should have the bed with the whole idea of the 4 pillars. Like, I guess that was supposed to be their identity, the 4 pillars thing.
You should have never called them that day one. You don't decide who your fucking pillars are. The people decide who the pillars are. Because after these 5 years, if you're gonna ask me who your 4 pillars are, it would be MJF, it would be John Moxley, it would be Ricky Starks, and Samoa Joe. Now, you can argue that maybe Swerve could be there recently, but again, those 4 guys were your consistent guys. Not Sammy Guevara, not Darby Allin, not fucking Jungle Boy.
Oh, they definitely forced that on us because a lot of those guys,
there was no need for it.
With the exception of, I want to say, Adam Hangman, and Sammy Guevara. Darby Allin was just finding his footing in terms of the storylines, and Jungle Boy was Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy got in was because of his late father, God rest Luke Perry's soul, but because he's a kid who happened to live in Los Angeles that the Young Bucks just happened to stumble across on. They saw the last name. All right, we can make some money off it because we saw a couple of his daddy's movies.
I can see that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I had to some people get in because they know people. I think he's talented. He there's far worse people that has made it.
I mean, shit. Stephen Mel was damn good in WWE for a little bit. Bad Bunny's damn impressive. Pat McAfee's damn impressive. Logan Paul's fucking remarkable so far from what we've seen.
Yeah, he's insane.
Ain't nothing wrong with celebrities wrestling in WWE. It's just at least have faith in organic continuity.
You know what's funny that you say to Logan Paul? You say you watched the Cody interview on Busted Open. Remember, I was talking about the contract signing, how I enjoyed how that made Logan Paul's character look a little bit more. And Cody had mentioned it. I just thought it was funny, like hearing that shit. I was just like, wow, like it was that little nuance hit me, and for Cody to just mention that, it's just like you say all the time, paying attention to detail.
I'll go one step further. Did you happen to watch that whole interview by chance?
Nah, I only caught bits and
okay, so did you happen to catch the part? I don't know if I sent you or not, but there was a portion to where, again, we all saw that infamous moment to where Rock and Cody had that moment after the Rumble. Cody went after the Rumble, whatever, and we're gonna go into Rock versus Roman. Cody found out about that the morning he was gonna win the Rumble.
Yeah.
Just the amount of professionalism and composure one would have to go say, hey, yeah, we're going to win the Rumble, but guess tomorrow you're going to tell Rocky you can have your spot. Excuse me?
And still put on that performance point to Roman after winning the Rumble. Yeah.
And then fast forward to what we get at Mania 40, and I put this tweet out. For that, knowing that and what we ended up with, which brought me back to Cody going back forward, Meltzer leading into the original All In. Cody Rhodes is the picture-perfect definition of hold my beer. Meltzer says, oh, anybody that's not a WWE, they can never put 10,000 asses in the seats. Cody said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Triple H and whoever else, and maybe even Vince for that matter, tells Cody, yes, you're going to go win the Rumble back-to-back years, but we're going to give your spot to The Rock. Hold my beer.
He pulled
That made me more of a fan of Cody than ever before.
Yeah. What he did on that SmackDown episode was crazy. Cause it's like so subtle too. Like he just walked away after he got out the ring, he just looked so hurt. And that moment changed everything.
He had his body language was very somber. And again, and even he knew, I got to get my ass to work. I got to get in the lab real quick. And then fast forward to what we got now. Rock wanted to dub it the Cody Crybaby movement. Again, that's just one man, as they say, nut up or shut up. That it is what it is. He said, all right, you want to do some? All right, bet that. What's happening?
Yeah, that was a crazy pivot. It gave me vibes of the Yes movement back at 30.
Exactly. Because again, the people wanted again. Now, don't get me wrong. Had Cody not won the Rumble, whatever the case may be, had they just backed off from the story and that wasn't even in conversation for WrestleMania 40, whatever, Rock Roman would have been just fine. But because the fans wanted the run back, the fans said, "No, Cody should have won at 39." Cody put the work in, as they say, dropped his nuts on the table, saying, "No, it's going to be me."
I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a most exciting time in wrestling for me as a fan. Shout out to Big
It
J and
also reminded me of Cody's little moniker when he was in AEW, where it was "Do the work." I don't know if you saw that on his old weight belts. It would just be "Do the work."
Definitely a fire setup. I feel like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that I feel like The Rock, what he brings to the table, he's such a professional too that he was able to pivot everything that was going on and turn it into what we saw, which was fucking magnificent.
Again, just the constant professional. He's been the game. The game is in his blood. Again, he could sense that shit from like 300 miles away, and he knows. Again, much like with the Yes Movement, much like with Kofi Mania, much like when Eddie beat his addictions and beat Brock at No Way Out here in California and retained at Mania 20. It's just one of those, like even Triple H says time and time again, the audience, the crowd, they will tell you everything you need to know. You just got to open your ears and listen.
The pivot sometimes is the best thing. Like I was personally getting tired of seeing The Rock come out and his gym tank top with the Brahma Bull on it. Just do it. You know, the Adidas tracksuit pants.
Hey, he was rocking Under Armour recently, not Adidas.
Yeah,
he got to deal Under Armour.
We got to get the branding right. You know what I'm saying? He was with the UA. He had the UA tracksuit out, and it was cool. Like, all
Rocky, I got you, big dog. I wear a size 11 sneaker.
Send them. You know what I mean? It was like 7 years of that. It was great to see a change. You know what I'm saying? Great to see the final boss. Great to see another evolution.
What was considered old was now new again. And again, with this, again, it was refreshing. It was different. Now, knowing how creative he is in general, we've only scratched the surface with the final boss. Now, supposedly, again, there's been rumor that, again, that infamous handoff where Rock said, pull something out of his pocket. He said, "You know what this is?" Supposedly, that was him re-gifting him the same watch that he was given at WrestleMania. Some say otherwise. We may never know what was in that hand during that exchange. But aside from that, we're about to see, whether it's SummerSlam, whether at Survivor Series, we're going to see the final form of the final boss. And when it happens, now again, that could very likely be alongside Solo Sikoa and the Gorillas of Destiny. I don't think Jacob Fatu is going to be on that side of the fence just yet. In general, I think he'll be more on Roman's side with the Usos. But I'm here for it because if you compare this to the Star Wars movies, we've already saw Phantom Menace, we saw Attack of the Clones, we saw Revenge of the Sith, we've seen A New Hope, we've seen Empire Strikes Back, we've seen Return of the Jedi. Now we go into Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Stages,
yes, I'm letting my nerd show for a minute.
Nah, it's stages, it's levels. So I'm definitely excited to see where the journey takes us.
And again, and for what it's worth, that's probably the identity between AEW and WWE. WWE is more the cinema side, more of capturing the moments. And I'm gonna touch on that here in a quick minute before I get to that. But also, like AEW, it's more of the general wrestling. But with the wrestling portion of it, they're trying to go around the small attention to detail, and many of the smart fans, the smarks, are noticing the gaps in attention to detail. But again, if they just pay attention to those minute things, AEW will be just fine. I'm gonna just be honest right now; they'll be just fine. It's just at least consider those details that you're missing and glancing by, and reanalyze. Whether it be Tony Khan and the Bucks, whether it be Tony Khan, JR Taz, whatever, just say, all right, if we tap into these small details that we're skipping, will they improve our product, or will we kind of level on and just stay like this? The jury's out. We shall see. Me personally, I think that if they focus on those small details, they'll go from this to this.
I definitely agree with that.
But back to the WWE cinema part. Let's see, where was we going to go with this? Let's see, there's a couple of points I wanted to make. Which one do I want to start with? What is your honest-to-God opinion on the current hijackings of WWE's Twitter and their WhatsApp program featuring Mr. Uncle Howdy, allegedly?
Just from a business standpoint, I think WWE is smart. They showing partners that they drive engagement interactions to their platform like no others. I don't see no other company doing that.
Is it too soon that this mysterious character already has merch on WWE Shop? I say yes. I say it's too soon.
Again, with the business of things, is it too soon? Yeah, but you want to have people with the merch ready to go, the pre-orders. You already, you know what I'm saying? We're in the business, like it's hard to keep things kayfabe. Like I feel like that's kind of why they put the business of Uncle Howdy out. Like they,
but also it's not being billed as Uncle Howdy. I forget when it's but it's something Crow that they're kind of building the shirt. It's basically a digital Crow, something like that. But there's two different shirt designs, two different designs out right now. Me personally, I think it's a little bit too soon, only because again, we didn't do this with the White Rabbit vignettes, even though we all know who it was.
Right.
There's no reason to force it. Again, we know what's going on, really. Just let the vignettes play out. We're still gonna be along for the ride, and keep the merch on the side, whatever. It makes no difference. We don't need that right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that. I think they just trying shit too, because like you said, it's a first time we see that where they giving us a reveal of something, giving us some merch before a debut actually happens. So we can see what's the turn out for them.
Yeah, this is one of those rare times where, again, I would say it's a rare time, but again, it doesn't add any more appeal to what's going on with the vignettes.
I think like if they did any kind of study that says people want this, people just want to be closer to.
I mean, yeah, folks are they're always going to say yes to more merchandise if it's a nice design, but it's like it doesn't add anything to it. Also, on the topic of Uncle Howdy, how you feel about the Fireflies essentially accepting Jey Uso?
I mean,
And JoJo and JoJo basically giving her blessing. I thought that was kind of a cool moment personally.
nah, it's definitely dope and cool. I think a lot of people trying to make that specifically something. I've seen a lot of people wanting Jey Uso to be the first victim of like Uncle Howdy, or
I
you
haven't
know what I'm
heard that
saying?
yet. That would be kind of entertaining. But again, it comes down to much of what AEW is like. How do we get there?
Yeah,
And
it's all based off the tweet.
and personally, just my opinion. Wyatt 6 or whatever it's going to be called in the future, that has no business with the bloodline right now at this moment in time. Now things could change post Mania, but as of right now, they don't that idea of a faction doesn't deserve to be a subject to being just filler. Because when that actually emerges, it's going to be special. Yes, the crowd is going to say, "Put the rock on him right now," but again, for what it is and what it could be, much like with Bray and his stuff in the past, it's going to happen organically. Let it happen naturally. Us as fans, just enjoy the
If you
ride.
got
Just
your
enjoy the
phone
vibe.
handy, check it. I just sent it to you. Somebody has sent this to a
I
group
got that
chat
and the
that I'm
Firefly
in.
going.
Yeah, yeah, there it is. I have sent.
That is an interesting edit, I will admit. But also, I mean, I was never a big fan of the Usos having a joint Twitter. Because especially once they kind of broke apart finally, they're both using the same Twitter.
I can see that.
So I mean, I
I
was never on
never
board with that.
I never really noticed that.
Yeah, and then I think the Young Bucks is the same way. It's like they both shared the same Twitter account. It's like, again, even much when the Theory Bros say, "What if you guys break up?" It's like, are you going to use the same Twitter? Yes, we now know this. It's like, why not just make your own shit from the start?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can see that.
Or once they say Jay and Jimmy, for example, once they split up, why not close that account, make your own accounts, something,
That would
leave that
definitely
one
get the
dormant till you reunite. Anything,
yeah.
attention to, like with AW, attention to detail.
Oh, nah, for
Because
sure though.
again, say main event Jey Uso made his own Twitter or whatever once they broke up, they could have easily said, "Oh, he gained X amount of followers in 24 hours, making him the fastest rising, whatever the fuck, whatever." Since they're big on statistics or whatever, just small things like that. So when we got the Jay versus Jimmy match I made a few months ago, you could have then argued that Jimmy was jealous because of Jay's rise to stardom, whatever, as opposed to the bullshit we ended up getting. It's the little things.
The little
I sound like a
things.
broken record now.
Nah, we driving it home for them. We gotta let them know. Definitely gotta let them know right there. But yeah, I think we got everything, man. We got Saturday coming up, so Sunday. I mean, that's when I'm so used to WWE PLEs. I said Saturday. Sunday is the pay-per-view for them,
Oh,
right?
also, I was hearing some shit that AEW is considering going back to Saturdays for their pay-per-views.
I'm not surprised with the announcement of WWE potentially moving to Sundays. Not surprised.
And then the other topic that we didn't really cover yet was AEW pushed their all out pay-per-view a week. So it's not going to be Labor Day weekend.
You said it's not?
It's not, all out will not be Labor Day weekend for the first time ever.
Oh, I think I seen the
because someone got to Tony Khan whatever stating that the timing was too close to Wembley. I mean,
Now,
me personally, I mean, yes, Tony Khan moved the Wembley show for Taylor Swift, but it's like the All Out, essentially, that was basically your flagship pay-per-view. Like, if I'm Tony Khan, whatever, leave that where it is. That's just me.
I mean, there's got to be. There's got to be.
Well, like I said, they were worried that a lot of folks, because I don't know, I remember last year, whatever, AEW did like 3 pay-per-views in like 5 weeks or whatever. And so like I said, they already had to push the initial all-in date for Wembley because of Taylor Swift. Now they're pushing back their flagship pay-per-view because it's too close to the date of the Wembley show. Once again, this is AEW trying to appease the small market of the internet fan base. This would have been a perfect time for them to stick to their guns and say, no, this is we started Labor Day weekend with this pay-per-view. It's going to stay on this day.
Yeah, I mean, they should just stay sturdy on their guns. If they announced one weekend, I don't really recall any events just moving without. Did they give a reason behind? No reasoning.
The only reason was because, like I said, the reason was the concern that the current date of September 1st was too close to the Wembley show. So I think it was like either the following week or 2 weeks after the Wembley show or something like that.
So, and when's Wembley?
Wembley, let's see. Wembley is August 25th. So yeah, All Out would have been the following weekend.
Okay. All right.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, literally would have been the following week. But again, it's like, I mean, my reason for Tony Khan should have stuck to his guns and just kept it on that day was he took massive pride in stating that they were the reason why there was wrestling Labor Day weekend. Which again, yeah.
No identity. Going away from what I was, no ranking system, no Labor Day, no more honor, even though
because I remember a couple years ago, Tony Khan felt type of way when NXT was doing a show, I think Labor Day weekend as well, and Tony Khan's like, they're doing this because of us. We're the reason why there's wrestling Labor Day weekend. We're the reason this and this and this. Everyone wants to be like us. This was the perfect time to put your money where your mouth is. This was the perfect time to do so, to stick to your guns.
They seen how it went the first time, and that might be too much. Like it might be too much travel, too much. A lot, I don't know what's the logistics behind it with talent, producers. But even if you don't use the same talent on both pay-per-views, I mean, there's other stuff to be accounted for. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was. I don't think it was wise to have.
Is All Out even in Chicago this year still? Yeah, it's still going to be in Chicago. They're just, instead of it being 1 week after All Out, it's going to be 2 weeks. So again, I mean, as I said, that they've a couple times they've done 3 pay-per-views in 5 weeks, whatever. They were happy about that. Why is now any different? Why should now be any different?
That's a good question. I'm trying to see if WWE got any shows in September that or PLEs that are significant. I don't see anything though. The latest I see is Bash in Berlin, August
Yeah, like I said,
31st.
AEW's next PLE in the United States isn't until the like mid to late August. Oh no, whenever SummerSlam is. But yeah,
Yep.
other than that, it's strictly a European show. So then that can't be the reason. I know Tony Khan's not sweating TNA or MLW. So other than making Dave Meltzer happy and the internet happy, why change the date? What about the folks that already bought tickets for that event? What do you do about them? What if they can't make the following weekend?
Yeah, and what day does that Labor Day? It would have been what? Like the first week of September?
It would have been the first of the month.
Right. And WWE gonna be in Calgary, Alberta, and Edmonton.
Yeah,
They're gonna
so
be in Edmonton September 6th, Calgary September 9th.
where's WWE gonna be on the 1st of September?
Yep. WWE has no Chicago shows that I see over here for September. So yeah.
Yeah, again, aside from making the internet happy, or at least Dave Meltzer happy, there's no reason for pushing the date back.
Yeah, I mean,
that may be something we got to keep our eyes on moving forward. Like again, like what is the actual reason behind this?
no, yeah, and I already know you got a better eye than I do. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna keep an eye out and send me that news because I know you had sent this to me. It was either this or I seen it somewhere else, but I seen that news, but I didn't bother to like take it serious enough that like it wasn't relevant enough. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, they moved but now that we're talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember last year people made a fuss about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it was. Oh, it might have been that because because it was All In, All Out, and another show that they had on pay per view. It might have been a Russell Dream.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, again, yeah, granted, the 3 pay per views in 5 weeks, that's a lot to ask for. But it's like, I mean, you made it seem like you were proud of doing it. And like, again, like, why is, aside from the timing of the other sponsorships doing whatever, whether it be DAZN, Triller, everything else, aside from that being plausibly in effect, like, why do this now? What are you concerned of that you're afraid of telling us? And at this point, you may as well just tell us.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Wish I had the answers to it.
We shall.
But yes, I mean, like, but back to WWE, is this the first time SmackDown's gonna be in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't remember, and if they've had an episode, I don't recall, but this is gonna be the first one that I remember.
I think in years past, the SmackDowns, even the Raws, whatever, if there was a Raw, they'd have been pre-recorded.
Correct.
So this is gonna be different.
That's why I'm intrigued to see what goes down Friday and Saturday. I want to see one. I want to just see the crowd, how they are. Then, secondly, obviously everything else we've been invested to storylines, King of the Queens, and everything else that's going to lay out the pay-per-view for us.
Is the card for the King Queen of the Ring out yet or no?
I believe unless they surprise us with a last second match on Friday, I believe everything should have already been shaped up. We got Becky Lynch defending against Liv Morgan, if I'm not mistaken. You're gonna have the Queens of the Ring finals, the Kings of the Ring
So
final.
I got the card up that was as of 18 hours ago. Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul for the Universal Championship. Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed, and Gable in triple threat for the IC belt. Becky and Liv for the women's belt. Gunther versus either Orton or Tama. And then Lyra Valkyria versus either Bianca or Nia. Now that's the one match that we didn't quite get into yet, as far as I guess the intricacies of Bianca versus Nia. That's we've kind of seen glimpses at the past. Is this the time to try to? I mean, how do we even approach that match? Because that match, I personally feel that should have been more of a pay-per-view match than winner goes on to Saudi or whatever.
Jade and Nia Jax.
No, this is Bianca. No, this is Bianca and
Bianca. Oh yeah,
Nia.
I forgot Jade lost. Said Bianca and Nia Jax.
And also, before we get into that, I want to ask you this: like, whether it's because Lyra, she's had somewhat of a mediocre rise since she got called from the main roster. If it's Lyra versus Bianca versus Lyra versus Nia, does your response change on who wins the match for the Queen of the Ring?
I think Nia Jax is taking it all.
Really?
Yeah, I think Bianca gets hit with the injury plague and story. She's been favoring that leg. I think Nia Jax goes to work on her. And if she goes against Lyria, I think Nia Jax is going to beat her.
Because I think if Bianca wins, Lyra wins at the PLE. If Nia wins, then Nia wins it all. And also, there's still that unconfirmed theory as to whether or not Bianca could be pregnant right now, too.
Correct. That's still something we don't have. And I seen that they're about to do a women's tournament for the contenders for the tag team championship soon.
Oh God, why?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think I seen that on Raw. They're gonna start that up, which kind of gives me indication that they might speed things up, but there might be some truth to this pregnancy.
You don't have enough women's tag teams for a tournament on the main roster.
Yeah, I mean,
you currently on the main roster, you have Shayna and Zoe Stark, who are going to challenge for the NXT women's tag titles. Is Alba fighting her and her partner? Are they still a thing on the main roster or no?
I haven't seen them in a while.
See? you can't do the Kabuki Warriors because Asuka got a knee injury. You have no women's tag teams right now. Hunter, you're better than this. Come on now.
I'm doing my best to look up the exact they don't have it on WWE.com. But I felt like I seen that on Raw nonetheless.
Well, maybe they'll bring up something either in Saudi or on the Raw after. But as for the Saudi stuff, say Tama does advance. I know we've kind of like pitched this back and forth in the weeks leading up to this, but do we actually see the Samoan werewolf make his appearance finally?
I don't think so.
I'm not ruling it out, but I'm not holding my breath either.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It can happen. Do I think so? Back-to-back PLEs. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a little bit too soon right now. Again, if he's not gonna pop up on a Raw or SmackDown, me personally, I think SummerSlam might make the most sense for two reasons. One, because again, his unconfirmed travel restrictions, if any, and again, SummerSlam is one of the big four, and then it's kind of like the next US based PLE. But again, back to the age-old question: how do we get there?
That's the good age question right there. How do we get there?
Because I mean, granted, yes, when he does appear, it's going to get a monster noise and all that. But again, how do we get there to maximize said reaction? I'm here for the ride, but again, it's like WWE has a few issues right now, but at the same breath, they're good problems to have. And by that, I mean there's several ways they can go with things. However, there's a lot of ways that lead to uncertainty. But either way, like even in uncertainty, there could be a cash cow waiting at the end of it.
Oh, we just gotta wait and see.
But I'll even throw this caveat in there. Say you wait till SummerSlam for Jacob Fatu. Could that do more harm than good waiting so long?
It can.
Which is a notable concern.
I also feel though like they'll find a way. But like WWE is good at finding a way.
Like I said, with Hunter, he's a master. There's always a plan for the plan, but it's like we are on the verge of uncharted waters. Because also it's like, say you prolong Jacob's debut, is there a world where they wait too long to bring Roman back at the same breath? Can, like I said earlier, can you afford to have Roman on ice until the Rumble potentially if push comes to shove?
I'm thinking it's a lot.
Say Cody drops the belt to somebody, or say he drops it to The Rock or whatever. Cody's in the Rumble. Cody's on the verge of winning his time with Austin, becoming the only guys to win the Rumble 3 years. Entrant number 30. In comes the returning tribal chief. This is something that could quite possibly be a possibility. Like I said, I'm not bashing it. This is a great problem for them to have because, again, that kind of leaves us in the situation we are towards, like, again, what if this? What if this? What if this? I can only imagine the creative juices flowing through Triple H and Shawn Michaels right now.
Okay, so this is why I've been quiet this whole time. I was attempting to find the information that I just spoke on, which was the next challenges for the women's tag team belts. On Monday Night Raw, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark emerged victorious in a four-way tag team title eliminator, which included Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Ivy Now, Maxine Dupree, as well as Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane.
Okay.
So after picking up the win, Shayna Baszler
I thought that was for the NXT Women's Tag Belts.
No.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be for Bianca and Jade's. And they saying we should be expecting announcements at either the King and Queen of the Ring PLE or this Friday's SmackDown.
Okay, that kind of changes some things for me because, in all honesty, I would not be opposed to Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark dethroning Jade and Bianca.
I'm okay with that.
I wouldn't be opposed to it for a few reasons. One, again, presuming that Bianca isn't with child as we speak, presuming so. I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth, but if that's the case, I wouldn't be mad at us getting Bianca versus Jade at a SummerSlam or even a Survivor Series in a grudge match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed. I also wouldn't be opposed to maybe Jade versus a Nia Jax potentially, or even honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to a Jade versus a Becky Lynch, or even a Liv Morgan. Should Liv Morgan beat Becky Lynch? Would not be opposed to that. Like I said, WWE's in a weird spot too, where yes, they are struggling without the tribal chief. Let's just be honest with that. They are struggling. However, they have a lot of stuff to where the stage has been set. They have a lot of situations to where Easter eggs have been laid. They have several stories and plots that could go in about 12 different directions. And with us being fans, I don't see any situation that I've kind of like thought of so far that would pose as something that, oh, I don't want that. So again, they could go many ways. Maybe this is just me having trust in Triple H and his repertoire and his history that no matter where he goes, it's going to somehow make sense and it's somehow going to work. Unless they throw Jay to the wolves and just have her just have like a 40-minute match with Nia for the women's belt, and it's just a whole lot of like what the fuck. But again, like I'm pretty sure they're a little bit better off than that.
This will make sense though. Also, if you have Bianca lose tonight, on Friday, and then they have to defend their championships and either King and Queens or at the next PLE. So I can see
say you have like Zoe and Shayna dethrone them. You could even throw in something on the lines of say Bianca takes the pin. Jay come out and say, I didn't come here to lose, and just bop.
right.
And then you can just go right into that. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can go about this, and there's more ways that you can think of that could work than ways that you think of that can go south.
Correct.
I'm here for it all.
Hell yeah, I can't wait. Chat, we gonna let it right there. Y'all gotta tap in though, because tomorrow we're gonna have Razor. I think we're gonna have Razor come back for like the next 2 days if he's with it. Because we're gonna have Unwelcome Your Thoughts. This is the regular Unwelcome Your Thoughts, season 2, episode 4. We're gonna get that right tomorrow. And then on Friday, we're gonna be doing the usual SmackDown wrap up off the hip and PLE preview until the next night. We're gonna have more clarity as to what's going on for the PLE. So y'all tap in with us, man.
In the words of the great Willie Adams, whenever you need me, I'll be there.
Yes, sir. We here, man.
I ain't gonna sing because I ain't trying to get any of the copyright strikes on your ass.
Nah, I appreciate that, man. Y'all see the tag names right there. Hit us with a follow right there. Woo underscore styles. Cap right there. L underscore captain. Razor underscore core. Anything else you want to say, my brother?
Where my boys Cap and Snake Eyes at, man?
Man, I know Snake Eyes. I had texted him before the show. He's out of state right now. You know what I'm saying? So he should be back with us by the weekend, he said. And my boy
Snake,
Cap,
I know you're
he's tagged.
listening. Live it up, my brother. Live it up.
Yes, sir. Big facts, man. That's the fan. That's the gang, man. You already know. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all out there, man. Y'all can stick around. We're gonna have some music and stuff playing, but we're gonna just wrap this up right here, y'all. Yes, sir.